He maintains creative control, and he reinvests earnings from these deals back into his own brand.
If Nike gives me $1 million check, I don't go and put that in my pocket or try to go get a bunch of cool stuff. I'll go and try to spend that money on one of the episodes of my TV show.
I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Lowe's knows tough jobs call for tougher tools. The new DeWalt Elite Series power tool accessories are built to last for the pro who doesn't stop. With precision fitment, durability, and impact resistance, finishing jobs faster has never been easier. Shop the new DeWalt Elite Series at an everyday low price exclusively at Lowe's. We help, you save.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh, the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Program. Today is Wednesday, right? August 27, 2025. I'm fine. Everything is fine, everybody. Everybody calm down. Wasn't feeling 100% yesterday, so I decided to take a little time, get a little rest. Sky isn't falling. We'll be okay. I'm more worried about Ricky. Ricky ain't have nothing to do yesterday when I'm not here. He just sits around twiddling his thumbs.
I didn't have nothing to do, just here.
Well, this is the time for you to get to know your coworkers, Ricky, and introduce yourself to people and find out all of the different moving parts here at Good Karma Brands. No?
Yeah. Oh. I kind of know everybody that I need to know.
All right, fair enough. All right. What I'm going to focus on today is some things that may be living under the surface of our American politics. And I'm also going to combine that with an explanation of, because I still feel like it needs to be thoroughly explained, because the Democrats saw it as a major issue in 2024, and it was, but it wasn't a campaign issue. It wasn't a campaign issue because it did not work for Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris could not afford to use a political platform that did not work. And whoever the Democrats that are going to be lining up for the 2028 nomination need to know is that there are issues that are important to the nation as a whole, but then there are issues that are important to voters and can move and motivate voters to actually cast their vote for a Democrat. Because as bad as Donald Trump is, and I'm not just going to say Donald Trump is bad because I personally feel so, I'm going to give you detailed information about things that he is doing that doesn't always make the news. What they're doing is they're flooding the zone with so much stuff, with so many different things, so many firings and cutting this and doing that. Come to find out they're cutting grants for Hispanic students. Some of that stuff makes the news, a lot of it doesn't. But there's something that is bubbling under the surface, and it also connects to the erosion of our democracy. There are people in this country that we don't like. There are people in this country that we fundamentally disagree with. It could be religion, it could be rural versus urban, whatever. That's perfectly fine as long as we can have respectful debate. But all of us are still included in the American experiment. And because you do not like a particular group, there should not be an ability to harm them, like physically harm them. What the Trump administration is doing, not only does it undercut our democracy, there's harm being done to people, but a lot of that harm is slow, it's insidious. Quite honestly, I think it's genocidal. It is covertly holocaustic, and most of it we won't see because it's not on the surface and it may not get covered in some of the big headlines. What ultimately is going to happen is we're going to begin to see and feel a new kind of misery that exists in marginalized communities. And oftentimes what people who live in marginalized communities, and when I say that, think the north side of the city of Milwaukee that we believe does not get any attention or not as much attention when it comes to development and job creation like downtown does. That marginalized community where education is either underfunded or it is poorly executed or maybe a combination of both. There's already misery. There's already too much crime. What is going to happen is those things are all going to get worse, numerically, measurably, statistically worse. And a lot of times what we do is we just blame our local elected officials. Our older persons, we're going to say, aren't doing their job. Our county supervisors aren't doing their job. And then someone's going to take this track as well. They're going to say, we have all these black elected officials and we have all of this misery and problems in the black community. I want folks to know from a 10,000-foot view, that's the point. If you think that the black police chief, black sheriff, black county executive, black mayor, the majority of the common council are black, if you believe that just because they are black, that white racism, which is now being fostered and boosted by Donald Trump, can fix everything that's wrong in the black community, then you misunderstand what America actually is. There's only so much they can do, number one. Number two, if racism exists in this country, and I'm sure some of you would agree that it does, even those of you that believe we live in a post-racial society, we're not quite there yet. So even the most progressive of us believe that racism still exists. Racism is going to attack black people in power first. It does not want those black people in power to become successful because there's a sentiment that black people in power, in order for them to get it, they got to hurt and harm white people. And if white people even think for a moment that their power can be usurped or sacrificed or even reduced by a 10th or 100%, they will go full balls to the wall. On the walls, there will be balls. Speaking of reducing power, side note, digression coming. My Uber rating went from 4.87 stars to 4.86, and I want to know who's responsible for that. First of all, I don't know why my Uber rating is not 5-star. I'm a good passenger. Hate it. Why I get that gay sound effect? You brought out the gays. Shout out to the gays. I have a collection of black gays. No, shout out to the gays. They're here and they're queer. I got a collection of black gays that call this show. But here's what's crazy. Left-leaning progressive Democrat gays don't call. I get Trumper gays. And sometimes I look in the mirror at myself and I'm like, I'm glad that they feel comfortable calling, because we can sometimes have some spirited debate. But how did they form a coalition and call my show? You know, I guess black Trumper gays don't really have anywhere to go. They're kind of like nomads, just kind of roam with all their black gayness. They're just fabulous or whatever. What, Rick? Am I saying something inappropriate?
You're digressing.
Yeah, I always do. But I can speak with this level of, I don't even know what I would call it. Some people would say, oh, sure, when you're being mean and condescending. No, I'm not. I'm really happy to say that there's a community that has been built around this show. It's black, it's white, it's old, it's young, it's gay, it's straight. When I was at Truth Family Fest, the only people that came up to me, and it was several, that thanked me for my show and people that wanted to meet me were old white people. Pow! I was shocked. I was like, some of the stuff that I say, you as an old white person never knew, which means that our education system is not just failing us, it's failing them too. What I plan to do with today's program is give a much clearer picture of what it's like to lose our democracy, but then provide information to you all about some of the things that are happening under the surface that is going to have a real, measurable, tangible impact on African-American progress and even African-American life expectancy. So I don't know where I would personally classify Donald Trump as far as his racism. It's easy to assume that he is, but he's so all over the place, and he just punishes everybody. Now, when he punishes somebody black, now he's trying to fire an African-American woman on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, which he can't do, saying that she's committing mortgage fraud. He's also trying to, lambast and bring federal charges against Letitia James, who was that prosecutor in New York that got 34 felony convictions against Donald Trump. I could easily say, oh, Trump is racist, because I can identify two very powerful black women that he is going after. The third powerful black woman, I guess I could say Donald Trump went after, was Kamala Harris, even though he's not threatening to lock her up. But also, Donald Trump is going after Adam Schiff as well with this. So they have this new thing, because, Trump is all about retribution. And so they're using mortgage fraud to try and incarcerate his political opponents. So, yes, there's two black women he is using his Justice Department to try and ensnare in mortgage fraud. But then Adam Schiff is also a part of that as well. And he's a middle-aged white fella. So it's too difficult to just pin him as a racist. But here's who I can pin as racist. And that's what we're going to talk about today. These things that are happening under the surface, like deep in the administration. Whether Trump is racist or not, I think he likes who he likes. Like, Trump has his collection of blacks that he does stuff for. Trump probably has a collection of blacks that he knows, that he likes, that he gets business deals for. They're subcontractors on some of his construction projects. Even racist white people have the blacks that they need to keep around, because black folks can give white folks like him access to black spaces and get intelligence on black folks that they couldn't get from anybody else. So there's utility, even as a racist, there's utility in keeping some black folks around. I don't think Donald Trump is any different, but the people in his administration are racist. Like his deputy undersecretary of deputy of some federal department that we've never heard of, those people are racist. They are doing some things right now with defunding grants for the National Institute of Health and the National Science Foundation that are dedicated to improving the lives, longevity, and outcomes of black people, and they're literally eliminating it. And I want to get into detail about that, because there's going to be a measurable decrease in African-American life expectancy in this country. To me, that's genocidal. You combine that with whatever the next incarnation of preventing women from getting their reproductive health care, whatever the next incarnation of that is, because the whole reason that they wanted to ban abortion is because white women were having more abortions than everybody else, because white women are more numerous than everybody else. So if you ban abortion, that was their original plan. It was very overt. Black women have abortions. All women can terminate their pregnancies, and quite honestly, that's a woman's decision to do so. But white women were terminating more pregnancies than everybody else, so they figured if they banned Roe versus Wade or overturned it, then white women would have less abortions. But you can't just stop there. You can't just have more white babies being born. You have to punish and eliminate the brown people, the marginalized people, the minorities. You have to shorten their lives while more white babies are born. And this may sound horrific to you all. This administration is horrific. Trump is just like steering the stagecoach, but all of the other people in the wagon train of the Trump administration are even worse than him. And we're going to clear it up. We're going to get it all sorted out. Everybody's fine. Ricky's fine. I'm feeling better today. The gay Trumpers that are black, they're fine too. Everybody's okay. We're going to be fine. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
If you have built-in advantages as a white person that you just have, and it's not like a white kid has sat down when they're young and say, okay, white kid, you have all these advantages. They just exist. It's built into the fabric of what America is. And I don't expect them to want to willingly give up their advantages, just like I don't expect someone who is successful to share their secrets of their success. I expect successful people to gatekeep.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Tracy, going back to the process, and as it relates specifically to the partnership that Old National Bank has with Housing Resource, what does the process consist of when coming through this program?
You know, it's a referral process. We work with clients that first-time homeowners that may not have the counseling that they need. They may not have the equity, the down payment that they need. So we refer them to our partners like HRI or Housing Resources, Inc., because we recognize that those organizations, they have the resources, they have the tutorial documentation and all of those things that are necessary for first-time homeowners that don't know the process, may not know the system, may not know what's required for home ownership. So working with Housing Resources, Inc. and other partnerships that we have like through WIDA has been very, very advantageous, not only for us, but also the organizations, but also for the community.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
So an FYI, if you were still dealing with flood damage, Milwaukee County has launched a new website of resources that you can pursue. And also the American Red Cross has some grants that it is releasing. You can call 211. I guess you dial 211. And then I guess you hit send after that. So go to your cell phone, dial 211, explain to the person that, hey, you're still dealing with flood damage, and Milwaukee County and or the Red Cross, we hope. Now, it's not going to pay for everything now, but I'm glad to see that local leaders are attempting to address the issue of a lot of our residents being literally left high and dry because FEMA, I believe, has left town. Problem with that is there are people who are complaining because folks heard on this program, because I think Blake might have called in. I think it was Blake or somebody, and said that FEMA was like in their neighborhood and they saw them and they talked to them. They saw their ID badges, but FEMA did not visit everywhere. And some of the more hard hit areas of the northwest side of the city of Milwaukee got visits from no one. And on Monday, I talked about the employees at FEMA wrote a letter. And they sent this letter to Trump and to members of Congress saying, that with the political appointees that are now working in disaster relief, we risk a FEMA that was pre-Hurricane Katrina. And you guys remember Hurricane Katrina was 20 years ago, in fact. And there's a whole bunch of stories actually coming up on all sorts of national news outlets about the 20-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Where are they now? Where's New Orleans now? Really fascinating stuff. But these individuals who are experienced in disaster relief wrote a letter, they're very concerned. So the letter illustrated their concerns in writing, and they sent it to Congress, and they sent it to Trump, that the political appointees that Donald Trump is putting in places that do not have experience in things like disaster relief or whatever the case may be is harming the agency. Well, guess what we find out? So that was on Monday. I talked about that letter that the FEMA employees, it was like they were sounding an alarm that we are at risk of becoming an organization. FEMA is becoming an organization that is dysfunctional, and we can't have that because I would argue we're going to have more natural disasters, and some of them could even be on a Hurricane Katrina level, maybe not as bad as that one individual event was, but if you have 17 wildfires going on, 30 different floods, 10 tornadoes, and 14 hurricanes brewing in the Atlantic, any one of those things can reach or exceed a Hurricane Katrina level of event. And I bring this up because we here in southeastern Wisconsin, specifically in Milwaukee, were hit very hard by those floods and are dependent upon that agency. But if the agency, coming from people within that agency, are warning that it is dysfunctional, well, that's going to impact us right here, right? Trump just fired all of the people that signed on to that letter. All of the individuals that sign on to a letter saying, hey, the political appointees that Donald Trump has put in the Federal Emergency Management Administration do not have any kind of experience in handling natural disasters and dispatching people and releasing resources because they saw that as a problem of delivering federal relief to people who are hardest hit. They were all fired. I tried to be as diplomatic as I possibly could and also operate with a high level of sensitivity in telling folks this whole time, don't expect FEMA to help you. And if you are thinking like Donald Trump, which is very hard for a lot of people to do, a lot of people think if they were president, this is how they would act, this is what they would do, this is how they would treat people. You can't do that because you're not president. You have to think how Donald Trump would think. And if the blue city and blue county of Milwaukee has a need for federal disaster relief, do you think that Trump would send it when he is making it very intentional that he wants to punish cities and states that don't vote for him? Do you think that he would allow disaster relief to come to Milwaukee, where he has accused Milwaukee of being a sanctuary city and one of those high crime cities that needs to have the military sent here to try and get a grip on crime? That's going to cost billions of dollars, we come to find out. Donald Trump's little playing military soldier and then throwing all of these National Guardsmen, in some cases the Marines, into American cities. That's your disaster relief money. Trump is not going to give Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin, Milwaukee disaster relief money and potentially have to budget sending the military here. He's not going to do that. It's a horrible thing for me to have to tell you, but people need to understand who this man is. And the people in his administration are even worse than him because they're smarter than him. Very dangerous. From CBS 58, federal investigators from FEMA say they have finished field assessments in southeastern Wisconsin for flood damage, but some residents say no one has stopped by their communities to speak with them. Natalie Gilhuber has lived in West Dallas for over 10 years, but these days she says she's just getting by. There's still so much. It's like every time you think something is done, you find more stuff, said Gilhuber. Like for our house, we still have no electricity. Down the street, Terry Shimke says, everyone is here in the same boat, says Shimke. Both Shimke and Gilhuber say they've been waiting for Federal Emergency Management Agency officials to assess their homes for flood damage, but officials never arrived in their neighborhood. Last week, FEMA teams went door to door to speak with residents about the damage they faced. The data collected could help southeastern Wisconsin get relief. So what happens is this. I know I went through this on Monday, but I want to go through it again to make it perfectly clear. I also want to provide you the resources that are available because local leaders have realized that Donald Trump may not approve the disaster declarations for southeastern Wisconsin, including Milwaukee County, because Trump would rather send the military here, and he ain't going to do both. So there won't be FEMA aid and the military. There's just going to be military or probably nothing. You can call 211. You also can get in contact with the Red Cross. And I have these links listed in the Hughes Views Facebook group. So if you go to the Hughes Views Facebook group, you can find links to what available local resources we have for folks. Now, it's not going to pay for everything, but there are some grants available. The Red Cross did make it clear on local news that they're releasing some dollars. They're not saying how much. It's probably going to depend on your level of disaster, I reckon. But in the Hughes Views Facebook group, I posted those links. Previously, FEMA officials stated they don't need to see every home, quote, just enough to assess the damage caused by flooding. FEMA officials say that this is just one step in a process that could take several months. So they send their people, they dispatch their people. They were here, don't know how many were here. Clearly, they didn't get to every house. Then they put together their assessment. They say, okay, we sent our team to southeastern Wisconsin, to Milwaukee County, to Milwaukee, West Allenz, wherever. And then they'll put together a dollar amount. FEMA will say, look, southeastern Wisconsin needs $3 billion, right? Then that $3 billion assessment that the FEMA teams that were on the ground here making and assessing gets sent to the governor, Governor Tony Evers, Democrat. Governor Tony Evers then says, okay, I got all the FEMA assessments. We need $3 billion for the people that were hardest hit. Governor Tony Evers then sends that $3 billion recommendation, maybe a little bit more because there might be other parts of the state that were hit as well. So Tony Evers might say, okay, Trump, we need $5 billion. Here's the problem. Tony Evers sends that request for that $5 billion directly to Trump. Trump can just say no. Wisconsin, it's a Democrat governor. Milwaukee doesn't like me very much. I love Milwaukee. I've been there several times to Milwaukee. But no, they don't vote for Trump. I don't know why they don't like Trump. The blacks have nothing to lose, and we're going to get nothing. So at least local leaders have predicted that this could be a potential outcome, and they have made some grants available either through Milwaukee County in combination with the American Red Cross. So go to either the Hughes Views Facebook group or call 211. Quite honestly, do both. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. Going to further explain what the erosion or elimination of a democracy looks like. I think this is the appropriate place to have that discussion. The campaign trail in 2024 was not, because there are things that exist in our politics that most people don't even connect to being a part of the democracy. Essentially, it's this. If the people have a great need for something, and it could be a group of people, it could be African Americans, it could be Latinos, it could be immigrants, it could be migrants, it could be young people, whoever, they're supposed to get it because they're here in this country. They're protected by the Constitution. They're protected by state constitutions and state laws and city charters. If you were in this country and you're buying things and paying taxes, people pay taxes even if you don't work. I think we have this misconception that you're only a taxpayer if you're paying income taxes. Well, no, if you buy things, you're paying sales taxes. And if you rent a hotel room, you're paying taxes on that. If you rent a car, you're paying taxes on that. So if you are a group, if you are a constituency in this country and you are living and you are consuming and boosting the American economy, you're supposed to get your needs met. Now, all of your needs are not going to get met by the government, but whatever needs don't get met by the government, we hope that we have an economy and a rich landscape for you to get a job and have a career where you can meet the rest of your needs, you see. When the democracy fails, it says, oh, okay, well, we have a group of people that might need more grant dollars for health disparities. Or we may have a group of people whose neighborhoods and communities, their infrastructure is crumbling. Or we have people who have live in neighborhoods and cities where their education, their curriculum is underfunded. Trump and his administration are making those decisions based on who they like or not, based on the race of people, based on are they Democrats or are they Republicans. That is the failure of the democracy. We as individual people can disagree all we want, but the government that we all fund and pay for should not have the ability, the authority, and the latitude to punish people based on who they like. That is anti-democratic. Now, Kamala Harris couldn't explain that. She should have hired me. How much money did she give Beyonce? And Beyonce didn't even perform. Remember when y'all got mad? Y'all found out Beyonce got $1 million or $10 million or something to give a speech. And when we saw Beyonce at whatever event that was, we were like, oh, Beyonce is going to sing and shake her ass. Beyonce didn't shake no ass. No ass was shook. I'll shake ass for a lot cheaper. I don't need. Depends on how I'm feeling. I'll shake ass for free. You know, it depends on who's in the room. I'll shake that thing. I don't really have a lot of ass.
What do you mean by that?
I have broad shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm shaped like an upside down triangle. So I get smaller as you go down. Hey! But I don't. Powerball is like 800 something million. It's big. I'll shake ass for that. I'll shake more than ass.
You gonna throw it back?
I'll throw it back, forward, rub it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no, I'll do all of the things. I got to take a break though, because it's time to take a commercial break. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back shortly.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. American Family Insurance can help protect your dream home for whatever comes next. You can live in your own oasis or your own clubhouse. Whatever you choose, get the right coverage. Save up to 23% by bundling home and auto. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Pull up to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee and shoot your shot at big wins for Sweet Ticket September. Play with your rewards card for entries. Score triple on drawing Thursday. Win slam dunk prizes like cash, reward plate, and tickets to see the Milwaukee Bucks in action. Sweet Ticket September. You ready for this? Only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Coming with straight truth.
Tory, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you when I first started hearing your voice. And what you're doing, in the words of T-Pain and Gorilla, I love it.
Thank you, brother. Bless.
Hey, I'm down with you, man. I missed your last gathering, but the next one I'm going to be there, and I'm going to make sure I introduce myself because, hey, you're God in all circumstances.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Never miss a moment of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on the new 101.7 The Truth.
Violence is a tool. Violence is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of subjugation. It's a tool of manifest destiny. Let's not say all of a sudden, oh, hip-hop music is why people are right. No. Y'all know how America was discovered? Murder, slavery, human trafficking. The origins of violence predates hip-hop. Can we at least agree on that?
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Tap into the best power hour in radio in Milwaukee.
Dropped my pants. I had to make sure I wasn't seen. You know, I don't want nobody to get surprised.
This is a sick Negro.
I'm just a real one. I peed again, came on back. I said, what y'all been doing? We've been out here for 3 hours. Y'all ain't peed yet? Just sitting here, we playing beer pong, and y'all sitting here peeing next to me? I'm still itchy today. Thinking something wrong. Am I the only one that's astonished by this?
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app.
Your expression on your face, that's got to me. And the man wasn't lying.
What you mean the expression on my face? How can you see my face? You listening to me on the radio, man.
No, I'm watching you on YouTube, too.
Oh, all right, then. You're an old man, and you know about YouTube. How old are you, Adam? You about 85.
83.
I'll be dipped. How blessed are we to have you.
Watch all your favorite 1017 The Truth shows by subscribing to 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency Tuesday placed several employees on administrative leave effectively immediately, just one day after they signed an open letter warning Congress that the Trump administration's sweeping overhaul of the agency could lead to catastrophic failures in disaster response. And I'm bringing this story up because our people here in Milwaukee are dependent upon disaster relief coming from FEMA. And if there are people who have worked for that agency through different presidential administrations, see a change that can negatively impact how they can help deliver disaster relief, we want them to say something. Don't you want them to say something? If you work for a place or for a business where potentially millions of people are dependent upon your effectiveness as an organization, if you work in this organization and you see that things are ineffective, and you may not be able to help people because FEMA is there. It's a collection of our tax dollars that come back to us when we need it. A lot of people don't have flood insurance, but we have FEMA, like money in the bank that we all don't put in the bank. But when we pay our taxes, some of our tax money gets put away in the hopefully rare event that we need disaster relief. And so the people that work in this agency are like, look, Trump is putting all of these people in his agency and they're making six-figure salaries, but they don't know anything about disaster relief. Let me tell you something about working. I've been working many jobs over many, many years. Many jobs, many different places. There is nothing like being more seasoned and more experienced than a new hire. Okay? Nothing like it, because you have institutional knowledge of how that organization, how that business is supposed to work. But here's the worst case scenario. You've been working at a business, at a company for, 20 years. And then they hire some brand new, young, wet behind the ears hotshot that ain't but 24 years old. And they don't know sugar honey iced tea from Shinola. They don't know anything. But now they're your boss. But they don't know anything about the agency, the organization, how things work, how resources are delivered. They don't know anything. All they know is that they are your boss, and they don't know anything. So if you are an employee in an organization and you are now working for someone that does not know what they are doing, you would want to sound the alarm, because the effectiveness of the organization is impacted by the new manager, the new director that the company just hired that does not know sugar honey iced tea from Shinola. Those people did what we want them to do. People that work in FEMA that are basically saying the people that Donald Trump is hiring are messing up the agency and it's delivering its core mission. Trump, when you say leave of absence from the Trump administration, they're fired. And it's very problematic because I don't think that we are in a place here in Milwaukee where we can survive without disaster relief money on top of everything else that's going on. I just read a story a couple minutes ago. People are still without power. It is August 27th. Them damn floods was almost 3 weeks ago.
It's also a building downtown where tenants been trapped in their houses for like 2 weeks. What are units for 2 weeks? Because the elevator don't work and the elderly lives in the upper part of the apartment building. So they can't use the stairs.
Well, at least Chris got off the roof of his Toyota Corolla. At least, remember the dude that he was in studio with his white socks on? Remember him? That interview was not what I expected. I thought we were going to get the Chris that was on the roof of the car. We got a whole different Chris.
He was all quiet and shy. I'm scared.
Because the first question I asked him, he wasn't humble. I asked him, did you think that your video of you sitting on the roof of that car in the flood would go viral? He was like, yeah, I knew it. It went so viral, I thought about taking it down. I knew I'm going to go viral. Then he said he was from Georgia. Apparently, dude went to like Custer High School. He's not from Georgia. Rick, remember when he said he was from, because I thought he had an accent. I thought he said, yeah, I'm from Valdosta, Georgia, or wherever he said. So I know several people that went to elementary school with dude here. So, okay, whatever.
ATL, shouty.
He did say something like that. He was claiming Georgia. Like, dude, you from the north side of Milwaukee, not
That's
Fulton
like people
County.
saying, I'm from Chicago. Dude, you from Waukegan. Go home.
People do that here. People are from Waukesha. They're from a city or a town that's not even anywhere close to Milwaukee, but because they know that when they tell people where they're from, nobody's ever heard of it, so they just say Milwaukee. Don't do that. You got to be from here. You got to live here. You got to deal with what we deal with here in the city of Milwaukee. You can't just claim it because nobody knows your little podunk town that you live in.
Just because you live in Milwaukee County does not mean you are from Milwaukee.
True that, but I think I give a little more grace. If somebody says, hey, where are you from? Is it easier to say Milwaukee than West Allis? Or you say, I live in West Allis, which is a suburb of Milwaukee.
I might as well say, if I live in Madison, I might as well say, well, I'm from Dane County. It's not the same.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm just territorial, as you are as well, because we take a lot of heat being from here. People think that, Milwaukee is this crime-infested, horrible parts. Yeah, because we asked when was I here last Monday? What's today? Wednesday? I wasn't here yesterday. Monday we asked a question. We put up a poll. Are there parts of Milwaukee that you won't visit, mostly because you're afraid or because the crime is too high, whatever? Like 60% of the respondents, and we get a lot of responses on our polls, 60% of y'all said yes. So there is at least the perception of crime. There's certain places where, I don't want to say there's not a place in the city where I won't go. There's places in the city where I'd rather not. If it's a gas station whose name starts with sit and ends with go, a lot of people, I think, have met their demise at a Citgo gas station. I just have a feeling. There's something about a Citgo gas station, and a lot of times when you see a Citgo gas station, one of the letters isn't lit up, so it's like it go or Citgo. I don't know. It's something about a Citgo that doesn't make me feel comfortable. The Federal Emergency Management Agency on Tuesday placed several employees on administrative leave effective immediately, just one day after they signed a letter warning Congress that the Trump administration's sweeping overhaul of the agency is going to lead to catastrophic failures in disaster response. Titled the Katrina Declaration, the letter accuses President Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, whose department oversees FEMA, of undermining the agency's capabilities, ignoring its congressionally mandated authority, and appointing unqualified leaders. The group calls for FEMA to be shielded from political interference and for its workforce to be protected from politically motivated firings. Of the more than 180 current and former FEMA staffers who signed the letter, most did so anonymously. Only 36 signed publicly. Y'all are the real MVPs, by the way. Though it's unclear how many were still employed when the letter was released. Among them was Virginia Case, a supervisory management and program analyst who told CNN that she received notice on Tuesday evening that she had been placed on permanent leave. She says, "I'm disappointed but not surprised," adding that she was aware of at least 6 other FEMA workers who received similar emails. "I'm also proud of those of us who stood up, regardless of what it might mean for our jobs. The public deserves to know what's happening because lives and communities will suffer if it continues." That is why I wanted to cover this story, because the voices of people that are operating with courage, real profiles and courage in FEMA said, look, the people that Donald Trump is appointing to this organization is going to hurt how we as FEMA deliver resources to you all. Her letter may never have gotten read, or her story may never have gotten out had I not discussed it. And I know that this is going to impact people right here in southeastern Wisconsin. So call 211, reach out to the American Red Cross. or go to the Hughes Views Facebook group to find links of local resources that may be able to help you if you are still dealing with problems and issues and damage from the flood. They will not be able to cover everything, but we're hoping with FEMA essentially being in turmoil, and the likelihood is very high that when Governor Tony Evers puts together his request of the Trump administration for however many billions of dollars Wisconsin needs, in the event that that request gets denied, and there's a high likelihood of it, because Tony Evers is a Democrat. That is also the erosion of our democracy. When they talk about losing our democracy, the president of the United States, regardless of what his, I'm not going to say her because we can't elect a woman, whatever his party is, shouldn't be contingent. Like disaster relief and federal resources, because Wisconsinites pay into FEMA. When your democracy ends, a president will make decisions based on partisanship. Even though Wisconsinites qualify for FEMA relief, Donald Trump can deny Wisconsinites FEMA relief because we have a Democratic governor. That means that our democracy has failed. The president of the United States is supposed to look at where people are harmed, where they are hurting, and where they deserve federal resources, and dole out those federal resources. It's basically giving our money back to us, but give that money out based on need, not based on political preference or the party affiliation of the governor. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back September 9th.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Texas Rangers.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in September 9th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design. Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This summer, make 3rd Street Market Hall your one-stop, must-stop destination to eat, drink, and play. 3rd Street Market Hall has over 15 locally owned food vendors, a self-serve beer wall featuring 30 Wisconsin breweries, over 50 HDTVs, and happy hour specials all week. The perfect place to work remotely or catch a game between meetings or over lunch, 3rd Street Market Hall is your home away from home or office. Visit 3rdstreetmarkethall.com for menus, events, and more information.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice. 'Cause I speak of the pompatus of love.
I didn't know that. He's from Wisconsin, Steve
Yeah, he's
Miller.
from Wisconsin. I forgot what city, but he's from Wisconsin.
I wonder if he's from Middleton, but he says he's from Madison.
I'm going to actually look it up real quick. Give me a minute.
There you go. Like nowadays, people don't even really have questions anymore because Google can pretty much answer all of your questions. So let me go. I got so much stuff here. I mean, I missed one day and the world turns upside down. Apparently, there was somebody on Tory's show.
He's actually, not to cut you off, he's actually from Milwaukee.
I'll be dipped. I didn't know that. Huh. There you go. Steve Miller from Milwaukee. Apparently, there was somebody on Tory's show that said Trump was Jesus. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. So maybe somebody misheard or misinterpreted that. But I was resting yesterday. And why y'all text me when somebody say something on Tory's show? Why don't y'all text Tory? You can text him at the same number you text me at 833-212-1017. But for some reason, y'all text my phone. How do y'all get my phone number? How do you get it? Remember back in the day when you could have an unlisted phone number, your name wouldn't be in a phone book? Well, not anymore, apparently. Trump aims to end millions of dollars in grants to colleges with high Hispanic populations. So another example of ending, usurping, canceling, crushing, destroying our democracy. Some of y'all think that you don't have a job because of some Latino somewhere. I mean, I'm not going to try and convince you otherwise. Some of you don't like Latinos because you think, boy, oh boy, they sure are flooding over the border and taking Wisconsin jobs. You know how damn far you got to travel to cross the Mexican border to get to Wisconsin? You know how many, states you got to pass through? If they get here to Wisconsin without getting caught by ICE, we might as well let them stay. Congratulations on a well-traveled journey, Rhea and your 4 kids from Bolivia. But what you don't get to do is you don't get to say, okay, you're of Hispanic descent. Maybe you're a first-generation American. Maybe you're working low-pay service sector jobs, but you want to better yourself. Because we tell everybody in America, you got to better yourself. You got to get educated, and maybe you want to go to college. You don't have a whole bunch of money, but you want to get a skill. Because we're always telling people to get into the trades, go get into the trade. Well, you got to pay for your education in the trades because every organization is not going to give you a damn free apprenticeship. And now Donald Trump is cutting off grants. This is insane. It's a warning. You N-words are next. He ain't going to get us yet. He's going to see how it plays out with other marginalized groups that African Americans may disagree with. And here's how we shoot ourselves in the foot, because there might be a whole bunch of black folks with shallow political thinking through no fault of their own. We don't really teach civics very well in this country. But they may think, oh, okay, cool. Trump is cutting off grants to Hispanic students. Maybe black students are going to get those grants. There's people that actually believe that. Sometimes you have to convince yourself that something good is coming your way because you don't want to deal with the gravity nor the reality of what is happening right in front of you. And so there's going to be some, the Congressional Black Caucus is not going to make a big deal out of this. Other black leaders are not going to say, oh, well, Trump is cutting off grants to Hispanic students in college. Oh, well, sucks for them. More money for us. Ours is coming. He first wants to see, this is how the administration acts, because they're doing things that are unprecedented, unheard of, immoral, illegal, unconstitutional. They want to see how we react. And other than a handful of protests, there was more protests earlier in the summer. I mean, there's still been more protests of Donald Trump than any other president in American history. But it's kind of quiet. Unless you're in Washington, D.C. and you don't want checkpoints in your neighborhood, most people are not really pushing back on some of the egregious things that he's doing because either we don't know, we don't care, we don't understand, or we think it won't harm us. And so they're testing the waters. If you know that you're going to do something, now remember, we got to be able to think like Trump. Don't think like yourself because you're a better person than him. And I don't even know some of y'all. And I know you're a better person than him. But you have to think like him. Don't think like yourself if you were president. If you knew that you were going to do something, especially surrounding the 2026 midterm elections where the Democrats could potentially get control of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. They can get control of the House and the Senate with numbers to not just impeach Trump, but remove him from office. You think Trump wants to let the Democrats get anywhere close to being able to remove him? Hell no, he doesn't. That's why he asked the Texas governor to carve out 5 more Republican seats. They made Austin, Texas, one of the most liberal cities in the country, a Republican congressional district. And how did they create those 5 new Republican congressional districts in Texas? And there's not even outcry about this. They took representation away from black people. They diluted African-American districts, and they added rural and suburban white people from surrounding areas into majority black congressional districts, therefore diluting black people's political power. And they created 5 more Republican districts by taking political power from us. And so this is just the beginning. So if Trump knows that something far more sinister is coming, that's why he wants to test putting the military in some American cities to see how we react to having the military there. And that's nary a whimper too, because there will be something in which more Americans will be so incredibly outraged where the military will be necessary to keep law and order. Right now, he's using the excuse of, well, there's a lot of crime in these cities, so let's send in the Marines and the National Guard, just to seeing how Americans respond. And if we're responding quietly to that, then he knows he has the green light to send the military when he interferes with the 2026 midterm elections, which I believe he will, because who's going to stop him? You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back for hour 2.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Coming with straight truth.
Be careful of the decisions that you make and the company that you keep, because that is going to determine a certain consequence. So you don't have to wait to go to prison, or you don't have to wait to figure it out what the consequences may be. All you got to do is look at your decision making and who you allow in your space. If they making wild decisions, wild things gonna happen. But you don't get to choose what wild things are gonna happen.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Talk to these people in terms of, how do I register for this program despite my reservations and my previous experiences of rejection?
Yes, I tell anybody and everybody that you can buy a house. It may take somebody longer than the other person, depending on what your circumstances is with your credit and income and affordability, but you can purchase a house. The first step would be is to register for our program. You can come to our office, 7830 West Burleigh Street, or you can give us a call at 414-461-6330, or just go onto our website, hri-wi.org. Register for the first-time home buyer education workshop. That's going to be your first step to home ownership. During that class, you're going to learn everything that you need to know from A to Z, how to get approved for a house, how to look for a house and put an accepted offer, and how to close on a home.
The biggest snowflakes out here are always been the white Republicans, who are so gung-ho on protecting the feelings of white kids while they ignore the needs of other kids. If Milwaukee's youth has a problem with fighting, well, white youth have a problem with being destructive and offensive. So it is sad that our government is actively working to de-emphasize educating and uplifting students of color in different backgrounds on college campuses. That emphasis is going to be diminished, and the only kids that will suffer will be our kids. They were willing to hold up the advancement of the state of Wisconsin because they disagree with DEI. What are white Republicans afraid of? Why are they afraid to face the fact that their grandmas and grandpapas were part of a system which purposely held black folks back and failed to give us the access that we deserve? Until these politicians stop ignoring these egregious acts of hate and racial incidents, America can never be great again.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee. A locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I guess I can't keep track of my Steve Miller sounds. I'm just, what's the whip for? Why are you whipping me? I'm just so happy to find out that he's from Milwaukee. Oh, you know what I meant to play? Well, not that it matters. I play how many breaks do we have during the show? 12? I think I meant to play something else. All right, here we go. So I want to set the stage here. Either an organization or a college or some group of people in the state of Tennessee said Hispanics getting grants to go to college is racist. You white people, my God. Not all of you, let me clarify, some are great. My whites are stupendous. My whites are marvelous. I got marvelous whites in my corner. But some of the others, oh my goodness. If we can illustrate that people have been harmed in this country because of their race. Now, not everybody, not everyone has been harmed. Well, they have covertly. It's just sometimes it's sublime and they can't tell. But if you agree that it is possible in the United States that for more years it was slave than it was free. If you believe that someone can be harmed or disrespected or not treated fairly because of their race, and if they can demonstrate that, shouldn't there be some kind of obligation to make up for that harm? Right? If you get into a car accident and you get harmed, you get restitution. If you were Japanese and you were in an internment camp and they raided your business, you lost your job, you lost your home, you should be made whole from that damage that was done. Discrimination is no different. If we can illustrate, and it's taken some marginalized groups decades to illustrate their harm. And then when they demonstrate that harm, beyond the shadow of a doubt, to a jury, to a grand jury, to a federal judge, they're repaired. If there are Latinos, Hispanics in this country that have been kept out of institutions of higher education and they have lower college attendance numbers, and they can directly trace that to they were discriminated against, and if colleges and universities that want to have a diverse student body, because the thing about a college or a university is it's not just the instruction, it's not just the curriculum, it is people from all walks of life learning together and learning from each other. That is the most powerful impact of a college or a university because there's people from all over. There's people that have different accents. Some people are short, tall. There's fat people on a college campus. There's some people that are racially ambiguous. When you look at them, you turn your head ever so slightly because you're trying to determine what race they are. That's the whole point. Universities are universal. And so if there have been groups that have been kept out of the universality of the university, and if that college says, no, we want a diverse student body, is universality a word? Rick doesn't know. Well, it is now. No, Rick, go back to what you're doing. That's all right. When you're standing, I feel like I can call on you like you're a ready student. But if you're sitting down, I'll leave you alone. But if you're standing, never mind. Don't even approach it. We're good. You probably texting one of them fat butt gals to be in your phone.
No, I was actually looking up something.
Okay. I don't want to know what it was. Probably a gal with a fat butt.
Possibly.
Exactly.
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joshing.
You ain't joshing. You like fat butt gals.
Like women with a pretty smile.
Yeah, okay. And let me guess, with a nice personality too.
God darn it, you knew it.
Let me get back to white people. So white people get mad because they always have an excuse. Their excuse is, well, Sherwin, I didn't own any slaves. But if your ass could have, you would have. Could you imagine living in a world, and I'm trying to be objective here, and I know that black people, we get real sensitive, but none of us alive have ever been a slave. We know it sucked because you couldn't listen to hip hop, and you couldn't twerk, and you couldn't go to the corner store and get penny candy. Being a slave was pretty, pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? It was awful. You couldn't go to the gas station and get a pickle and hot Cheetos. It was a rough go. But none of us were there. So, but could you imagine? Because if you had the money, you could buy a person legally and like take them home.
Not for a lot neither.
No, contrary, Rick. They were really expensive. They say that the slaves, the wealth that was generated, the slaves were worth more than the land and all the crops. So the slaves were worth more than all the tobacco, the sugar cane, the rice and the cotton, and the land combined. That's why parts of the South are still poor to this day. We got poverty in the North, absolutely, yes, indeedy, but it's some parts of the South that never recovered because they lost trillions of dollars. But that's what they get, setting up their whole economy based on the ownership and the subjugation and the human trafficking of human beings. However, I digress. Speaking of digression, if I'm going to digress, I want to make it count. Christopher Columbus was a human trafficker. He sold 9 and 10-year-old little girls, and I'm not making this up. He said it in his own manuscript, because the whole thing with Christopher Columbus, he wanted to find land somewhere else that he could sell to Europeans. So he'd find some land. Yeah, there happened to be people on it, so you just kill all the people. And then he would go back to Spain and be like, hey, there's plots of fertile land in the West Indies, in the Caribbean. You guys want to get on a boat with me and come take a look at it? And they're like, hell yeah, we do. We want land over in the New World. And so they get on a boat. And so this is what Christopher Columbus said in his own diary. And remember, the Catholics chose him to be their mascot, or like their spokesperson, or their whatever it is. Because Catholicism was dying in this country in the early 1900s. And the Catholics were like, we need a new dude to promote Catholicism. And they chose Christopher Columbus. So when he'd bring these people over from Europe to show them the land that they could purchase from him, because he stole all the land and made it his. So if you wanted to purchase land in the New World in Haiti or the Dominican Republic or Cuba, you bought it from Christopher Columbus, because he, quote unquote, discovered it. Even though there was people on it, he just killed all the people. He said that when he brought men from Europe so they could like tour the land, speculate the land that he was selling them, he says in his own manuscript, he's like, I don't know what it is, but these men are more interested in the intimate company of 9 and 10-year-old little girls than they are the land. He was like, it's quite curious, you see, but I am here to make money. And so he would sell 9 and 10-year-old little girls and wouldn't sell any damn land because they wanted the company of children more than they wanted free land where they could grow their own crops and get involved in the slave trade for labor. Ain't that wild? And then the Catholics were like, yeah, that Christopher Columbus is the dude that we want to be our representation. Insane. That's why they canceled Christopher Columbus Day. Now it's Indigenous Peoples Day. He was a really bad person. I said all that to say this. The whites will say, we didn't own any slaves, Sherwin. We're not responsible for all the things that slavery did. Can we be honest for a second? I kind of want to put this in a poll on YouTube, but I think people will get offended by it. If just in your daily routine in 2025 of whatever it is you do, you go to work, you go home, you go see the Brewers games, you go to a sports bar, whatever you do, you go to a park, you have hobbies. What if just in your normal daily routine, you could just go buy a person? Just like anything else you buy, you just go, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Honey, do you have any plans this weekend? You want, no. Great America, no. You want to go to the Dells? No. You want to buy someone? I think a lot of you would buy a person. You would. If you could. That's how it was. I'm not kidding you. No, it was always immoral. There was always a group of people that were protesting, buying people. And I'm not trying to downplay it, but I'm also trying to get in the frame of mind of the era. And what we do is we have our current mindset of today, and we apply what we know today and the horrors that we know about slavery and the atrocities that we know about slavery today, and we apply it retroactively. You can't do that. Just like you can't think about Trump in terms of what you would do if you were him, what you would do if you were president. You can't look at things that way. You got to think about what Trump would do because Trump is president. And if you look backwards, I bet you, because we buy people now. It's just they're just cheap. You don't buy their whole body, but you buy their labor for $7.25 an hour. Quite honestly, to me, I don't want to say it's worse, but if you can purchase somebody's labor by law, they got to set a minimum wage, because if they didn't set a minimum wage, people would pay people even less than that. And if you have bills to pay and mouths to feed and a roof you got to maintain and utilities and transportation costs and all these other costs, do you know how many hours you need to work to make ends meet if you're making $7.25 an hour? A lot of hours. You're taken away from your community. You're not there to volunteer. You're not there to help register voters. You're not there for your kids. You're not there for neighborhood cleanups because you have to work. You're not available on holidays. You got to work because, lo and behold, you might get time and a half. And if you say making $7.25 an hour is not enough and I want to go to college, the Trump administration is taking away grants from you. From the Washington Post, the Trump administration is refusing to defend a lawsuit challenging a federal program that provides $350 million in grant funding to colleges with large populations of Hispanic students, a move that threatens the future of similar programs to help minority students, meaning we're next. I didn't even know Hispanics got $350 million worth of grants to attend college. If they get $350 million, black people probably get in the billions. The decision confirmed by the Education Department stems from a lawsuit brought against the agency of the state of Tennessee and Students for Fair Admissions to End Hispanic Serving Institutions program. Wait a minute, that's an actual organization? Let's read that again. The decision confirmed by the Education Department, FYI, the U.S. Department of Education, which Donald Trump is trying to eliminate, was set up and created by Jimmy Carter to root out, to identify, to eliminate racial discrimination in education. Okay? Just so you know. The decision, confirmed by the U.S. Department of Education, stems from a lawsuit brought against the agency by the state of Tennessee and Students for Fair Admissions to End the Hispanic Serving Institutions program, which provides federal grants to colleges and universities where more than 25% of the student body is Hispanic. The lawsuit, filed in federal court in June, claims the program is discriminatory and unconstitutional because schools that have a population of at least 25% Hispanic, and the fact that those Hispanics are able to get grants, white people think that's racist. I could see if a school was 100% Hispanic and all of them went to college for free because they were Hispanic. But if there's a student body of at least 25% Hispanic, they want those students to lose their grant funding and their financial aid. That's cutting at the core of what America's supposed to be. We say, oh, get an education, get specialized, learn a trade, get a degree. Because we want our population in America to be smart. Because if you're going to be here, we need you to know all you can know, get the best education you can so that we can be competitive against, like Canada and India and China. But if we are telling people who can demonstrate harm that they maybe have been left out of institutions of higher education because of their race, like, no, these universities are going to provide grants for you to attend college, and now they're suing to halt financial aid to Hispanic students. How does that make America greater? I mean, I know what the ultimate goal is. Republicans know this, and they've known it for a long time. It's why Reagan started cutting out state subsidies for colleges and universities back in the 1960s. It's not a direct correlation, but it's really, really close. The more education somebody gets, the more likely they are to be a liberal. The more education somebody gets, the more likely they are to vote Democrat. The less education somebody has, the more likely they are to be a conservative Republican. And that is fact that cannot be disputed. In the 1960s, and this also coincides with the Civil Rights Movement, it cost like $300 to attend any University of California school. That's why somebody like Elizabeth Warren was like, "Oh, I paid my way through college waitressing." You can't do that now, can you? Just like when you send your child to a public school, there's no tuition because the state subsidizes your child's education. Well, colleges and universities used to be exactly like that because we wanted our students to get the best education possible so that we in America could have students that were smarter than Russian students and Chinese students, et cetera, et cetera. Back in the Cold War, we really doubled down on making sure that America was the best, most prepared, and the smartest. But then the Civil Rights Movement comes along. And now you have to let black students into those same colleges and universities. And so what governors did, especially conservative governors all over the country, they said, well, if you want to go to college, blackie, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. So a lot of the state subsidies that made colleges and universities damn near free went away. White people, because they had the benefit of being able to own homes and had equity, they could withstand the increases of tuition more than African Americans, remember, who were legally prevented from buying houses in certain neighborhoods because of the color of our skin. That is why tuition is out of control, because they know that minorities and marginalized people and African Americans are going to have a harder time paying for college because it's so expensive. You know the whole student loan debt forgiveness thing that Joe Biden did? You know why he did that? Black women have the highest burden of student debt of any group in the entire country. Joe Biden also put a black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. Joe Biden also put more black women on the federal bench than all previous presidents combined. Joe Biden even selected a black woman to be his vice presidential running mate. The theme of Joe Biden's presidency was helping black women. More student loan debt owned by black women than any other group, disproportionately. Just an FYI. So the increase in college tuition deals directly with African Americans wanting to go and getting accepted to colleges and universities. They're not taking away our ability to go to college. They're just going to make you go in debt forever if you want to go. So you know how people say, oh, everything is about race? They're right. They're correct. Everything in this damn country can be traced back to race. I posted a story yesterday in the Hughes Views Facebook group because all I really could do yesterday was post because I wasn't feeling well, you know. Do y'all remember taking square dancing in high school? Rick, you might be too young, but you had a square dance? Square dancing was put into the curriculum of American schools in like the 1910s and the 1920s because Henry Ford, who was the most racist, most anti-Semitic person damn near on planet. Henry Ford, the man that made the cars. Do you know that he sent Hitler a birthday card and sent Hitler money for his birthday? Like Henry Ford was a monster. In fact, some years ago, I think it was NBC, they ran an uninterrupted showing of the movie Schindler's List. You guys remember the Oscar award-winning Steven Spielberg movie about the Holocaust? And I think it was Channel 4, NBC played it without any commercial interruption, sponsored by the Ford Foundation. Why? Because they were apologizing for how anti-Semitic, how much Henry Ford hated Jews. Henry Ford hated Jews so much. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about your country here since y'all don't think it's about race. He hated Jews so much that he spent millions of dollars of his own money so that square dancing was taught in schools because there was this new art form of music that was starting to get popular in America, and it was called jazz music. Henry Ford he wasn't really sure, but he thought the Jews had something to do with the proliferation of jazz music. So he gave school districts all over the country millions of dollars so they would square dance because square dancing was a signal to white supremacy. Ain't that sinister? Yes, it's about race.
I also took square dancing in school, and believe it or not, it was at a white school.
Of course it was. They probably, I don't know if they had square dancing in black school. They probably did. Actually, I think they did because some of the people that chimed in when I posted in the Hughes Views Facebook group, they're like, oh yeah, Sherwin, I took square dancing too. I just need you to know where some of that stuff came from. We did it in gym class. It was the dumbest thing ever. Swing your partner, do-si-do. But I mean, I did it because I was like, when did we take square dancing? Like 6th, 7th grade? Because I was hoping that I could touch a breast. You know what I mean? Because I'm hormonal. I was 7th grade. Something happened between the summer of 6th grade and 7th grade. When I came back to school for 7th grade, all the girls had breasts, and my nose was wide open.
He said, I felt different.
I think I did. Like when girls would so if you sit behind a girl in class, damn, I shouldn't say this. So girls were starting to develop. Let's put it this way. I noticed it. I sat behind Sarah Hoppy for all of our years in school because her last name is Hoppy, my last name was Hughes, and we sat alphabetically. One year we came back to school for the new school year. I remember I sat behind Sarah Hoppy for many years. One year Sarah Hoppy had ass, and I could see it because when she sat out in the seat in front of me, it spread like butter. I'm still friends with her to this day. I tell her to this day.
Never mind.
No, don't do it, Rick. Wait a minute, you put a poll up on slavery?
Yes.
In the year 2025, if you had the chance, would you buy someone? I'm scared to look at what people even said. I don't want to know. Okay, I'm going to look. I don't want to look. 20% of you said yes. What? We have a poll up on YouTube. Please, I don't even want y'all to vote. It should be 100-0. The question reads, in the year 2025, if you had the chance, would you buy someone? Now it's 25% would say they would. You sons of a guns. All right, I got to take a break. We're going to talk, good God. I got to talk about not just the impact of Hispanic students. I can't believe you guys.
I mean, they telling the truth on the truth.
I'm sitting here, watch the numbers go up. Now it's 31% of people said if they had the chance, they would buy a human being. So slavery is not dead. Okay, we'll talk about that and other things on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this
Congratulations. Woo!
God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Aww.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
It's 1017 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It all started with a new invention in 1925, the roll screen. The ability to roll a window screen up and down like a shade. Pella invested in this breakthrough when the business was born in Pella, Iowa, and has introduced the world to innovation, game-changing decisions ever since. They've been at it for a century. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home and always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Investing in new Pella windows and doors creates long-term energy savings and durability that lasts for years. There's no reason to wait because if you order by August 31st, get 0% interest for up to 60 months. Certain restrictions apply. Yes, that's up to 5 years with no interest payments, so don't miss out. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know it's not just a car, it also drives your children's dreams. So whether you're going to soccer practice, robotics club, or opening night in the school play. We help protect those dreams. Save up to 23% when you bundle auto and home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care. Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialists and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth. The Truth app Sherwin at 1017thetruth.com.
How you doing, Brother Love? Blessings,
Tory,
brother.
hey, how you doing, man?
Blessings, brother.
God bless Trump, man. And I think Trump is Jesus Christ, Tory.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I you know what I mean? And that's a revelation. That's a revelation. That's a revelation to me.
Yep. I guess somebody did. I was invested. I kind of wanted to hear the rest of it, but all right, let's talk to. Hello, Bob. How are you?
Hello, Sherwin. No, I would not buy a person if I was in that time. I can't imagine. I just cannot imagine buying a person.
Bob, you can't imagine buying a person because of what you know about slavery right now, but back in the day when everybody was buying people, you might consider it. That doesn't mean that you would have done it. And also, people were very expensive, but we can't look at it like we look at it now. But here's the weird part, Bob. So we put a poll up of our listeners on YouTube, and right now 41% of the listeners of this show said in 2025 if they could buy a human being, they would. That's staggering.
Okay, Sherwin. I got you now. You're checkmate. Now watch you move anyway. You're going to move anyway.
I'd buy you, Bob. I'd buy you cheap. I'd probably get you for $50. I'd get you and a couple of your kids and grandkids. Wouldn't even have to break 100.
No, I'll checkmate you later. Christopher, the only test that I learned to get into high school was Christopher. The only question I had to know, Christopher Columbus discovered America. And Kaya, he has a commercial. And he says, if we don't do this, we won't make America great again. Well, I can see him saying we can't make America great, but not again, because to me, it's never been great again, except Donald Trump says it was great again. And
hang on a second, Bob, hold on. You had to answer,
yeah.
You were given a test to enter high school, and the only question on the test was about Christopher Columbus discovering America?
To get into high school, yeah, that was one of the only questions about Christopher Columbus.
Oh, it was the only question about Christopher Columbus, but there was other questions on the test.
Oh, yeah. So I just want you to know he discovered America. Sherwin, don't you know that? And, I can't
You're being
understand.
sarcastic, though. You're joking when you say it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to make sure. Because you might actually believe it.
The president, it's a big deal that you interview Biden and Harris. But my mind started thinking, if you interview Reagan I wouldn't. I said, so?
Reagan?
If you interviewed Trump...
Reagan been dead for 21 years, man.
If you interviewed Trump, I said, okay, what you want me to do? Buy you a house, fix it up, give you a medal? What? But I'm impressed by Biden and Harris. Very, very impressed.
Thanks, Bob.
And I actually I've never talked to somebody that have talked to the President of the United States and actually joked with a person that have talked to the President and the Vice President of the United States. That's a big deal for me. But if you just talk to Trump, so, well, you want a medal? Yo, you want a house? What do you want? I mean, I wouldn't even care. It just tripped me out. And he's the president. But I just wouldn't care.
All right then. Okay, Bob, now. All right then.
Talk to you later.
All right, I see you at the auction now. I see you. Bob's price just went down. If Bob was on the auction for $38, but $38. I give you some pocket lint and some wooden nickels. So you said you got the full conversation? I don't know if I want to hear it. I don't know if I want to play it for the listeners of this program. And let me tell you why. Because as of right now, 39% of the listeners of this program would buy somebody if they had the chance to. So I don't know if playing a clip of somebody calling Donald Trump Jesus is going to help those numbers.
Damn.
Right now, here, let me see if Mao is in the chat. Mao need to be careful because he's African from Africa. He'd be the first one people try to buy. No, he would be. Who would you buy, Rick? Who would you buy? Would you buy like a 24-year-old white girl? And you can buy anybody. I'm like saying who, if you had the money and they're like, yeah, you can buy a person. Because clearly you wouldn't be alone. 39% of the people answered in the affirmative in the year 2025. If you had the chance, would you buy someone? Who would you buy?
This show is out of control and off the chain.
No, it's not. This is real reality radio.
I wouldn't buy anybody.
If Hispanic women that knew how to cook were on sale. All right, Zach, you light-skinned. I know you're going to go on special. I get a Groupon for your ass. I'm just saying. I'm just asking the question. Clearly, 38%, the number is going down a little bit. At one point, it was 80-20, and I thought that was alarming, that 20% of people that participated in the poll would buy someone. It's now 38%. And it's 40 votes. So, you know what I mean? So if you want to let your voice be heard in our Democratic poll in 2025, if you had the chance, if it was legal, would you buy someone? Okay, well then who would you buy? Somebody try and buy me.
Who would you buy? You told me plenty of times you'll buy me.
Well, it depends. What is the inventory like? Who's on sale? Can I get a buy one, get one? Who's healthy, in good shape with good teeth, strong back? I don't know. I'd be nice to them. They would just be like a house servant. You know, I wouldn't beat them unless, well, that's the thing, Rick. I don't know if I would buy a black person because they'd be too ornery. The black person that I bought would tell me all the stuff they're not going to do. And then, there wouldn't be any refunds on black people. I wouldn't get no warranty probably. Oh my goodness. So I'm only saying this because 39% of the people that responded to the poll on YouTube, if you want to chime in, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app, search 1017 The Truth. I think you'll see like a little red circle that says live around the 1017 The Truth logo. If you click on that, then you'll be entered into our YouTube chat and then you'll see the poll posted. In 23 minutes, it's now 40%. Now it's going back up. I got to take a break. Unbelievable. I got so much other stuff I got to talk about as well. Like the slow death of groups of people that vote Democratic traditionally and what Donald Trump's administration is doing to erode some of the safeguards for marginalized people and people of color and black people in this country. It's going to happen. We're not going to know why there's this slow erosion of our life expectancy. And what we likely are going to do is just blame our local elected officials. I want to share this information with you so you know to not blame our local elected officials. There's a plot, there's a plan, probably buried somewhere deep in Project 2025, which nobody read, of how they can eliminate minority populations in this country and strengthen the white population. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. We are nearly 1 million strong and growing stronger every day. Join us on Saturday, October 11th at 8 a.m. at Summerfest Southgate as we come together for the Making Strides of Milwaukee Walk. Whether you walk for a survivor, in memory of a loved one, or to support the American Cancer Society, you bring us closer to a future free from breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country right here in Milwaukee? Sign up for free today at makingstrideswalk.milwaukeewi.org. What's poppin', Truth Nation? It's your girl Noni Juice with Tamara Castle from Associated Bank, and this is Making Your Money Work. I am so glad to be joined by Tamara Castle, AVP CRA Mortgage Loan Officer at Associated Bank. Today we will be talking more about first-time homebuyers and giving them some tips and some help. So the very first question I want to ask you is, I want to buy a home, right?
Yes.
Who do I contact first?
So you'll contact me through the website, so Associated Bank /TCastle. And of course, you could always give me a call, 262-888-3135. Text, leave a voicemail. We'll get you guys going.
All right, so that's step one.
Yes.
Now, this might not be step two, but it's definitely a good question that I have. Does Associated Bank have any assistance for first-time home buyers?
Yes, we do. So Associated Bank has different angles on assisting first-time buyers. The first one is we have a gift. So it's not a grant. So it's literally coming from our president to give first-time home buyers assistance with the down payment and closing costs. That's $3,000. So we can use that for, obviously, the down payment and closing costs. You can use it to buy down the rate. And pretty much every customer I have uses those funds for their first time. Because, again, sometimes it's hard to save. It's something that people use as a barrier. So we came up with, how can we assist customers? We really can't assist with credit per se, but we can assist with funds. And we don't want funds to stop someone from buying their first house. So we also have another grant called Down Payment Plus. That's $8,000. That can be also layered on top of our $3,000. So a lot of customers get those funds too. We do partner with Housing Resources, which has more funds. So they take care of the home buying education for us, and then we do the mortgage loan, and we connect all those grants together.
This has been Making Your Money Work, brought to you by Associated Bank.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
And I just came here. I don't know if I do that here. I just want to pick up some girls, player.
Okay, everyone, put away your boyish desires, your buoyant sighs, your rolling eyes, your lust for rolling rock, your lust for getting rocks off with others' follies.
How stripping diversity, equity, and inclusion from healthcare will make Americans sicker. You can look at the priority of an administration by their first actions upon taking office. Barack Obama wanted to get the economy back on track because we were in a horrible recession in 2008 when he took office. And so you guys remember cash for clunkers, where if you had an old car, they give you $4,500 toward the purchase of a new car. That was a way of getting inefficient vehicles off the road, old vehicles off the road, but also a boost to our automakers because our automakers weren't doing very well. There was a series of bailouts to the banks, which I know a lot of people didn't like. But it was Barack Obama's priority to get the economy back on track. And by the time he and Joe Biden left office in 2017, they had created something like 15 million new jobs. African-American unemployment was low. Wages were going up, etc. On top of that, another priority of the Obama administration was equal pay for women. Now, what the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act did was it didn't require employers to pay women equal. It made it easier for women to sue, which in a lot of cases, when women won those cases, got more money than the income they lost with a pay disparity in the first place. But these were the priorities because Barack Obama had a wife. Well, he still does. I hope him and Michelle are doing okay. And he has 2 daughters, Sasha and Malia. So those were the priorities of the Obama administration. He made it very clear, get the economy back on track and make it so that women could get equal pay even if they had to sue to get it. Another priority for the Obama administration was affordable health care based upon the simple fact that African Americans had the most illnesses, had the most preventable diseases, and we were the ones disproportionately harmed by not having health insurance because of our health disparities, et cetera, et cetera. And also, insurance companies would refuse to cover us sometimes, put lifetime maximums on us, et cetera. So the Affordable Care Act, more affectionately known as Obamacare, was born. Also, FYI, starting in January of 2026, Trump is going to get his wish and the ACA is going to be essentially gutted. More information on that because I'm expecting members of Congress to act as soon as folks know that a lot of those subsidies are going away. There is no automatic re-enrollment for Obamacare, and your cost of health insurance per month is going to skyrocket. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer toward the end of the year. But the priority of the Trump administration, remember the first thing he did? Fired everything DEI. Everything DEI, it's gone. All the DEI people, DEI staff. If there's a agency or a department dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion anywhere in the federal government, hell, even if it wasn't, even if it looked or smelled or tasted like DEI, everybody was fired. I remember reporting on those stories because some employees who worked in different offices and agencies were locked out of their email immediately. Key cards didn't work anymore. Couldn't even go back in the office to get their belongings. I remember that. So that showed us one of the many priorities of the Donald Trump administration. Well, with the curtailing of DEI, and I've even heard people defend it, black people defending eliminating DEI, and whatever reasons they use or whatever reasons they made up, it makes no sense to me. But whenever there is something controversial that people don't quite understand, they must think there's some greater good that can come of it. I never thought that. And if Trump was eliminating DEI, and somebody probably used the excuse of, well, it's going to make everything fair for everybody. America's never been fair. It's never been fair. President Donald Trump's administration has dramatically reshaped health and medical research by rolling back federal funding from institutions that have diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives by cutting federal funding for research projects that the administration considers related to DEI. So here's what I want to do. I want to take a break, and I want to give this a dedicated couple of segments because we have health disparities in this country. There are black people that suffer from ailments at higher rates than other people, and it aids in our mortality. We have a shorter life expectancy than a lot of other racial groups, okay? There are grants, there is funding, whether it be the National Science Foundation or the National Institutes of Health, that study the health disparities of African Americans and then make recommendations of how we can eliminate it. Because based on our race, based on the color of our skin, and what we deal with and the neighborhoods we live in and our lead-tainted water, and black people are more likely to live where there's toxic waste and contaminated lands, et cetera, it leads to poor diet, poor understanding of nutrition, all these things, genetics, lead to us having poor health outcomes. I need people to understand that. The Trump administration believes that any federal agency or program that seeks to address health disparities in African Americans is DEI, and they're all being eliminated. I have a state-by-state breakdown of all of the federal grants that are dedicated to studying the health disparities of African Americans. Right now, it's funded at $40 billion. Starting next year, that $40 billion of grants that's funded to eliminate our health disparities as black people is being cut to $24 billion. After that, it'll be cut in half again by the time Trump is out of office. Whenever that is, there will be $0. Zero federal dollars, zero federal grants dedicated to eliminating the health disparities. It even includes like how food deserts impacts African American health. And when you eliminate those grants, then the food deserts are not only going to remain, they're going to expand. These are some of these covert things that the Trump administration is doing to boost white populations. White people already outlive us. So you overturn Roe versus Wade, so less white women are having abortion. That's going to boost the white population. At the same time, you have to eliminate black and brown populations by anything that studies the health disparities from the federal government's perspective is going to be decimated. Also talked about the schools that have a Hispanic population of 25%. All of their grants to attend college and get financial aid, all of that is being eliminated. Do you see what this agency is doing? And at the same time, instead of funding those things that we need, that Congress approved, he's sending the military into cities to stop crime. So when you have somebody saying that Donald Trump is Jesus, I'm wondering exactly what kind of Jesus are they talking about? You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. If you haven't done so already, join us on YouTube. I'm scared to look at the poll. We have a poll up on YouTube. You have to go to YouTube to check it out. Search 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Hit subscribe, and the rest will be determined when you see the poll. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this.
Congratulations. Woo!
God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Aww.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years. From their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee, their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design.
Great impressions.
Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices, one call, that's all.
Fall in Milwaukee, where the air is crisp, the drinks are cold, and the good times are just heating up. Stroll Milwaukee's lakefront and explore its parks as they burst into a kaleidoscope of golds, ambers, and reds. Raise a glass at a beer garden that feels like a neighborhood block party, Milwaukee style. And just as the temps fall, Brewers baseball is turning up the heat. October dreams are made right here. This season, every color, every cheer, every sip, it all comes together in Milwaukee. Craft your perfect getaway at visitmilwaukee.org.
I've always been taught, save a little now so you can live a lot later. That lesson stuck with me. Now with U.S. Bank Smartly Checking and Savings and their digital tools, I can track everything from my daily spending to planning my dream vacation. It's not just about saving. It's about honoring where you came from and carving out new traditions, one goal at a time, with a little help from U.S. Bank. Building a future together. That's the power of us. Visit usbank.com/powerofus to learn more. Member FDIC.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Donald Trump's administration has dramatically reshaped health and medical research by rolling back federal funding from institutions that have diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and by cutting federal funding for research projects that the administration considers to be related to DEI. As of August 20th, 2025, the National Institutes of Health has terminated over 5,100 grants totaling $4.4 billion in research funding. Likewise, the National Science Foundation, which seeks, among other things, to advance the nation's health, has rescinded over 1,700 research grants totaling $1 billion in funding. These terminations have disproportionately impacted projects that study the experiences of African Americans and funding to scientists from social groups that are underrepresented in academia. The federal judge overseeing, this is the one, this is it. This is the quote. The federal judge overseeing the case, challenging the cuts to these grants that directly impact African Americans and African American health. This is what the judge said now. I have never seen government racial discrimination like this in my life. Do you know how much racial discrimination a federal judge sees? They handle a lot of those cases. This judge says, I have never seen government racial discrimination like this in my life. They are literally cutting grants from the federal government that can have an impact on African American health because it's DEI. Now, just know when you hear somebody defending Trump, any money, any federal research that was dedicated to treating type 2 diabetes, uncontrolled, unchecked, hypertension leading to kidney disease, leading to black women who have more incidences of breast cancer that is usually found in later stages, they are attacking your family directly. Many Americans view these cuts to health-related research as disconnected from the health care they receive. However, psychologists and chemical engineers who study how gender and racial inequality affect well-being and the incidence of progression of disease believe that these changes will make all Americans less healthy. Let's talk to. Hello, Al. How are you doing today? Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday.
Well, happy hump day to y'all. First of all, I want to sit here and say, I thought Hitler was a homosexual because that little thing on top of his lip, that little mustache looks like a woman's vagina. Oh. And I can't see no woman laying down with Hitler. And the real reason he was killing all those men because he was afraid their secret was coming out. So I'm pretty sure if he slept with 120 men, his T-cell count was fighting like Sodom and Gomorrah. Number two, you white nationalist Christians, I think y'all are some angry people, and I think a lot of you white nationalist Christian men want to ejaculate in a 6-year-old boy ass. And I also feel a lot of y'all want to impregnate a 10-year-old girl because a lot of y'all are perverts. And again, when you look at Nat Turner, y'all ate Nat Turner because you thought you was going to get some superpowers, but you smell like sour soap, like fermented cabbage. You smell sour, you know? So I see why y'all so mad and upset. Furthermore, Jesus Christ, and I'm not even a fan of Jesus Christ. No, he's not white. And if he was black, he would be black with a big chest and a broad back. And if he bent over, you will see it hang from the back. Oh. Jesus, if he was black, he will be strapped in the front and the back and legs like a quarterback. He wouldn't be walking around with a camel toe when anal leak is coming out his back door. So whoever the hell told y'all that Jesus Christ was white is a damn lie. Because when you look at this Republican Party,
They don't like to compete. They like to dominate because they always have shortcomings. And remember, everything they create always rot. And when it comes to it, everything they touch go from sugar to... So I need y'all to remember that, and you have yourself a good day. And I don't know who's going on with this buffoonery, but where we come from, we don't believe in coonery. Coonery, coonery, cha-cha-cha. We got some coonery, coonery, cha-cha-cha. And they ain't going to get you no good retirement plan, but you will get an invitation to sleep at the foot of the bed. And for some of you coons who want to vote that way, bend over and let them slit you from the back so you can bleed and you can really find out how it is to be like a woman. You want to take away her rights? Let him bleed you from the back, and you can use her tampon too, with wings. But you still ain't sitting on my couch. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye. We'll see you later then. You know where I thought he was really going to go wild is when he said they have shortcomings. I was like, oh, he's gonna really say something vulgar with that, but he didn't. He didn't go off on a tangent when he said shortcomings. So it's kind of hard to get back to normal after that. I had to.
That gotta be stopped, man.
You want to stop him? You want to try? You go right ahead.
Just everything ain't got to be so sexual.
Well, maybe he is uncovering things that other people want to ignore. Maybe he's right. Everybody has their own perspective on things. Maybe his perspective brings out. In the state of Wisconsin, the National Science Foundation grants that the federal government provides to Wisconsin to look at African-American health disparities. There are currently 20 grants. All 20 of those grants are being cut. The total is $7,060,000. The National Institutes of Health grants to the state of Wisconsin that look at and examine African-American health disparities. 39 are in total. 30 are impacted. That totals $1.76 million. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
From the biggest stars to the greatest moments, Behind the Bucks is Bucks history like you've never heard it before. It's all on Behind the Bucks on the Bucks Plus audio network. Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. Available now on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the new ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back September 9th.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Texas Rangers.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in September 9th at 7:05 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Tired of hearing no from other banks? No to a loan? No to a checking account? Just no? At Brewery Credit Union, we find ways to say yes. Yes to second chances. Yes to rebuilding credit. Yes to helping you save, borrow, and thrive. Work with our credit specialist and move your financial life forward. Brewery Credit Union, Milwaukee's best place to borrow and save. Visit brewerycu.com. That is brewerycu.com. Federally insured by NCUA.
We are the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer. We are nearly 1 million strong and growing stronger every day. Join us on Saturday, October 11th at 8 a.m. at Summerfest Southgate as we come together for the Making Strides of Milwaukee Walk. Whether you walk for a survivor, in memory of a loved one, or to support the American Cancer Society, you bring us closer to a future free from breast cancer. Are you ready to join the #1 breast cancer movement in the country right here in Milwaukee? Sign up for free today at makingstrideswalk.milwaukeewi.org.
The biggest snowflakes out here are always been the white Republicans, who are so gung-ho on protecting the feelings of white kids while they ignore the needs of other kids. If Milwaukee's youth has a problem with fighting, well, white youth have a problem with being destructive and offensive. So it is sad that our government is actively working to de-emphasize educating and uplifting students of color in different backgrounds on college campuses. That emphasis is going to be diminished, and the only kids that will suffer will be our kids. They were willing to hold up the advancement of the state of Wisconsin because they disagreed with DEI. What are white Republicans afraid of? Why are they afraid to face the fact that their grandmas and grandpapas were part of a system which purposely held black folks back and failed to give us the access that we deserve? Until these politicians stop ignoring these egregious acts of hate and racial incidents, America can never be great again.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Американская фирма Transceptor Technology приступила к производству компьютеров «Персональный спутник».
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Our phone number is 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. I'm talking about this slow death that more and more people of color, especially African Americans, are going to die because the Trump administration is making it obvious and blatant. Even a federal judge said that he has never seen racial discrimination by government like this in his entire life, because any grant funding or any thing that seeks to study the health disparities and eliminate and reduce the health disparities that African Americans have, Donald Trump considers DEI, and it's all being cut. Can anybody defend that? Can a black person who likes Trump because he's a businessman, because he's going to drain the swamp, can you defend our community, which is the sickest of them all, getting less funding to eliminate everything from food deserts to cancer research? Black women's mortality, maternal mortality and infant mortality, higher than any other group. Donald Trump believes that studying and looking at treatments and preventative care to slow or reduce or eliminate black maternal mortality is woke, and he's cutting it. I know some of y'all don't like woke, but some of y'all think woke is just gay, transgender stuff. Woke means black before it means any of that. Let's talk to Adam. Adam, you're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm great for an old guy.
What's on your mind, Adam?
I'm calling you first, and I want to ask you about that commercial you got with me.
It's very good, Adam. I like it.
Yeah, I know you do. That's why I'm laughing. I'm not getting any residual for it.
No, you're not going to get no residual. You need to be happy that you even on the radio, man.
What I really wanted to ask you about what you're talking about with Donald Trump. I could tell you some things, but I don't have time and I can't remember everything. Like where I'm from, I'm originally from Louisiana, because I told you one time I beat a white cop up, and everybody say that I was supposed to be dead. I was hung, and they call all kind of stuff on me. But there's a town where I'm from called Freetown. There was nothing but black people living there. And back in the day, I forget what my mom and my stepdad told me what year it was in. It was right after that massacre in Oklahoma, and the black people was getting together down there, and there was about 100 and something, and the Simons, the Livingston, and I forgot the other last names, and then and a brother went and told on them, and they massacred them in that barn where it was getting ready to go attack these white people from. There are stories like that all over Louisiana, and another one they did in Louisiana. Before these hurricanes that they're keeping up with now, my mama told me back then the hurricane was so bad they would put black people on them levees to try to block the water.
Oh, that's not nice. That's terrible.
Yeah, I know it is, but a lot of people don't realize some of the things we have been through. And anybody that says Donald Trump is like Jesus Christ, they haven't read the Bible. I've got an Ethiopian Bible over here. Like for an example, Solomon. Solomon said he's black. Solomon said right in the Bible that he's black. And you remember Haile Selassie?
Sure do.
Well, Haile Selassie was
president of Ethiopia a few decades ago.
That's right. That's right. He was assassinated in 1974. Well, anyway, he was a heritage of Solomon. And what was I about to say? I lost my thought a little bit. But he came up. He was the last of the emperor, and that's what the Bible says. That's when the world starts changing when they assassinated him, because that was one of the true bloods that was left by the Old Testament prophets and stuff.
Well, Adam, thank you for that biblical lesson. But I got two other people on hold, but I appreciate you and thank you for being in one of our commercials. And you call back tomorrow with another lesson from the Ethiopian Bible. We need it.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's talk to Ethiopian Bible. We need it. Now, look here, security, Mike. I hope you got your phone nearby. And turn that radio down, man. You do this every time you call, security, Mike. Now, look here, security, Mike. And I hear me, but you don't hear. Turn that radio down, man.
Yeah, I got you, man. I'm just in the truck. Hello?
Hello.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So you sit in the truck with the radio turned up while you on hold, and then do you wait? Oh, you must wait to hear yourself on the radio.
No. While I'm waiting for you to answer my call, I'll be listening. Then soon you get to me like he was with the other gentleman.
All right.
I was going to turn it down. But, the thing you saying about him making all these cuts to health concerns that we have, you didn't mention sickle cell. And I think everyone has a relative in their family and that's suffering from that. Is he making cuts to that as well?
Oh, good God, yes. And sickle cell is barely funded as it is because it impacts.
As it is.
So it impacts black people, a handful of Latinos and Hispanics, but the numbers are so small that the funding that is needed is barely even achieved. Like, they actually need more funding for sickle cell, but the government, even in previous administrations, have justified giving it only a small piece of funding because it impacts so few people. So sickle cell funding will never be on par with like cancer and infant mortality and diabetes and high blood pressure, but all that funding is going to be cut because it's going to eliminate black people. And black people vote for Democrats, and that just makes sense.
Right. And those supporters, they're gonna see as this kind of stuff keeps going with Trump, they're going to actually see. And I think call another whole show, they're going to see when they don't get this money. The flood victims here, when they don't get this money, they'll start seeing. And a lot of these black supporters, eventually, they're going to get away from Trump, man. And I'm talking about all over the country because they can actually see that it's really a racial problem that Trump is after to bring us down. And he's making all these cuts and these fires. Where's that $5,000 check I thought we would get? We haven't gotten any kind of money behind this. Who's getting all this money then? All these cuts he's making, who's getting this money?
The military.
You see what I'm saying? Who's getting this money? Right. So I might call the show today and say, hey, if your boys don't get this money, that's because of your boy up there. And we're going to rather deploy them troops than to pay both. Now, I bet money that's what he's going to do, and that's going to be the excuse. So, man, this is crazy. We're going to be on a long ride, Sherwin. We're going to be on a long ride, and I don't know if we're going to get out of it. Because I don't even think we're going to be able to vote dude out. He already setting it up that he's going to stay in the White House, and he's deteriorating. He's got health issues and stuff like that. He was talking about Biden. But Trump is slowly deteriorating as well. And then the older you get, the more racist you're going to get. And those colors are showing right now with Trump. So these black supporters, they still hanging on, making excuses for him. But it's going to all come out in the long run. They're going to see. They ain't getting nothing for that vote. It's discouraging, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your call. It is discouraging. We often see the dollar amounts that government collects and what it spends, and we oftentimes don't see ourselves reflected in those dollar amounts. When they give huge tax breaks to very wealthy people, we don't see ourselves included in that. Even when Republicans here in the state of Wisconsin gave small Republican voting towns 1,000+% increases in their shared revenue, and Milwaukee gets a measly 10%, we wonder, well, where's all the money going? A lot of the money that is dedicated to us and our issues is buried deep within the systems. And a lot of it is to research our health care. Because if we're not alive, then money for all these other things does not matter. One of the things that was identified, and this is why the Affordable Care Act was good, because it dedicated money to research. Why are black people dying from preventable illnesses? Why is our hypertension so high? Why is our type 2 diabetes so high? Why do we have food deserts? And they linked all of these things that we thought were separate. And then with all of that research, which was federally funded now, talking about Obama didn't do nothing for black people. He's trying to keep your black ass alive. And once we saw that all these things were linked, maternal mortality, infant mortality, then grants were offered by the federal government to continue to do that research so that we can have life expectancy on par with everybody else's. And contrary to popular belief, the government doesn't want to really exterminate people. That's not its point. It wants to keep you alive forever. Because the longer you're alive, the more money you're spending and the more taxes you're paying. Even your doctors want you alive. My doctor told me this. I got a fantastic white doctor. He's very nice. I joke with him about race. I said, Doc, you're not trying to kill me, are you? I said, Doc, I know about racial disparities in healthcare. Are you trying to give me some racial disparity in healthcare? He said, oh, Sherwin, don't be silly. I said, explain, doctor. Sherwin, if you die because I'm not giving you the best treatment possible, then I'm not going to be able to collect money from your visits. He's like, my job is to keep you around as long as possible so you can enjoy time on earth and you can do all your hobbies and you can live a productive life. And then my doctor was like, at the same time, if you're still alive, you're going to come and see me and I get paid off of that. I gave him a high five. And he was like, take off your drawers, Sherwin, so we can get this exam started. I'll be in my doctor's office almost naked. Well, they make you put on a hospital gown, but your ass is always out. They can't redesign a hospital gown? And it's the same pattern. It's not even like a sexy, it's not a very flattering pattern. And you know, every time I put on a hospital gown, small digression here, I think to myself, somebody died in this. Because they're not going to throw it away because somebody died in a hospital gown. They just wash it. Or I think of all of the bodily fluids they could be on a hospital gown. I'm like, oh, this is not pleasant. The latest federal actions are already pulling hundreds of millions of dollars out of National Institutes for Health grants that are disproportionately supporting the health equity and community-engaged research that impacts the lives of African Americans. Those dollars are the pipeline that turn basic science into screening tools, treatments, and practice changes for conditions that drive excess deaths among Black Americans: hypertension, heart disease, cancer, maternal health. When you cut that pipeline, the literature shows you slows innovation, delays uptake of proven prevention, and over time raises African American mortality. On August 22nd, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to withhold $783 million from National Institute of Health grants the White House has labeled DEI, a bucket that includes many health equity, community, and disparity projects. Universities report halted trials and canceled awards while litigation continues. Separate from lawsuits, this year's appropriations cycle is volatile. The U.S. Senate has moved to add $400 million to the National Institutes of Health and keep all 27 institutes, including Health Disparities Institute, but that's not yet final and does not reverse the court-enabled grant cancellations. The National Science Foundation, which funds data, AI, social, behavioral work that underpins implementation and equity analytics, is operating off of a fiscal 2024 enacted budget that's 5% below fiscal 2023 at $9.06 billion, with this year still in flux. Cuts slow the creation of new treatments and tools. Peer-reviewed, Econometric work finds that each additional $10 million in National Institute of Health funding produces 2 to 3 private sector patents, the raw material for diagnoses and drugs, fewer NIH dollars, fewer follow-on patents, trials, and approvals, mortality rates decline, slower mortality rate declines. 2, cuts curb prevention and implementation, the biggest drivers of population mortality. At the population level, a 10% increase in public health spending reduces mortality as much as 7%. Those dollars are upstream inputs to those programs, surveillance, community hypertension control, cancer navigation. Removing those funds cuts those gains. Number 3, the diseases most affected are exactly those with the largest black-white mortality gaps. Hypertension. Black adults have the highest hypertension prevalence, 58% age-adjusted in 2021 through 2023, driving heart disease and stroke death gaps. The National Institutes of Health funds large pragmatic blood pressure control trials, at-risk tools and community programs. Canceling or deferring these slows blood pressure control, which raises community mortality for African Americans. Cancer. Black people still have the highest death rates for many cancers. The ACS, American Cancer Society, projects 73,240 black cancer deaths in 2025. Delays in screening, innovation, biomarker validation, and diverse cohorts and trial access reverberate through higher deaths of African Americans. Maternal health. Black maternal mortality was 50.3% out of 100,000 in 2023. That's 3.5 times the white rate. The National Institutes of Health funded bundles, hemorrhage, hypertension, cardiomyopathy, remote blood pressure monitoring, and hospital quality collaboratives that reduce these deaths. All of those grants have been canceled. I'm going to take a break, come back. Going to talk to Allan on the other side. Wonder what he has to say about this. Remember, Allan has a black wife, so we'll see what happens. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hey, is this Carolyn?
It is.
Congratulations, Carolyn. You just won this.
Congratulations. Woo!
God is good all the time.
What would you do with $5,000?
I'm going to buy my nieces some school clothes because my nephew just passed away.
Aww.
So I'm going to get them some clothes.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
Great impressions will exceed your expectations. Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
At Great Impressions Graphics and Printing, they've been proudly serving the community for over 26 years from their location at the corner of 54th and Burleigh in Milwaukee. Their dedication to quality and customer satisfaction has made them a trusted name in printing and design.
Great impressions.
Great Impressions offer a wide range of services, including banners, posters, yard signs, business cards, programs, and postcards. Plus, they specialize in custom apparel printing, perfect for family reunions, sports outings, business promotions, and more. For your next project, visit greatimpress.com. That's greatimpress.com. Great Impressions. They're here when you need them.
Great impressions, perceptions, everything.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Marquette University High School football lives here. Catch all the action of Hilltoppers football on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Tune in this Friday night as the Hilltoppers travel north to take on the Fond du Lac Cardinals. Join our coverage starting at 6:30 p.m., leading up to kickoff at 7 p.m. Marquette University High School football is presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. And sponsored by Left's Lucky Town, C.J. Schmidt, Capital Insurance Agency, Boyle Fredrickson, Annex Wealth Management, Magic Productions, and Burghardt Sporting Goods.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our telephone number, as we are discussing the cuts to National Institutes of Health and National Science Foundation grants that study African American health disparities and mortality, have all been cut because Donald Trump labeled medical research that looks at the impacts to African Americans as DEI and labeled it woke. Something like $20 billion dedicated to African American health disparity research is going to be cut. That's just in year one. By year 4, there will be $0 left. Let's talk to Allan. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you? Hello.
Hey, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I was over thinking about you were talking about earlier, but I'm actually having a pretty good day. Not a great day, but it's a decent day. I've been out running around trying to take care of stuff. As an aside, I'm Irish, so there's a lot of there's Shanty Irish and there's lace curtain Irish. You know the difference between the two, right? So in my family, there's both. There's lace curtain Irish, which is like the Mayflower, and then there's Shanty Irish, which were the ones who came over and got sold by Cromwell into the Americas, if you will, to work in the silver mines, and the women got stuck in the brothels. So I'm somewhat familiar. I'm not at all comfortable with buying people. I think that it's insane. So you could chalk me down definitely for not on the side of humans as commerce. It's demented. But if I was going to buy a person,
who would it be?
If I was,
would you get a black?
Yes, he would be black. It'd be a man. Who would it be?
Say more about that.
He's very entertaining, extremely, extremely intelligent, funny as all get out, almost like you know what they say about an Irishman? An Irishman is like a blank turned inside out. You know, he used to show us as monkeys and everything too, with the little hat on. But this guy he's bigger than I am. I don't know if he's bigger. Like the man was talking about appendages, and I hate to keep going back to Irish, but Lord have mercy, we don't need no Viagra, baby. As Ty told the gentleman on a cruise, this guy looked at me. I was dancing, right? This guy looked at me and said, "You must take a lot of vitamins, including the blue pill, Viagra." And Tyrone looked at this man, and she said, "Sir, let me tell you something. Mr. Beckman does not need Viagra. He's got me." No, I digress. But, yeah, you can't buy people. But if I was going to, I would pay, and we would kick it till the day we die. You'd have to do nothing but accompany us on hijinks. That's all we would do.
Allan, are you saying that you would buy me like they bought Richard Pryor in The Toy, and I would just be accompanying
No, but you wouldn't be my toy. You wouldn't be a toy. I mean, if I had to answer this, you are nah, man, you're like one of the few people, black, white, green, blue, I believe I could hang out with. I could have a conversation.
But why do you have to buy me, though? I don't have
to. The question was, who would you?
Not for someone to buy me.
Let me change that. Here's who I would buy, for real. Not Bozo, not Ringmaster Ned. but drunken Ray Rayner. The Ray Rayner who was on the Ray Rayner show when I was little, who came on stoned and stewed, and he started saying, using the F word on a live mic. Remember? Are you old enough to remember that?
No, I don't know who the hell that is.
Google that. Google Ray Rayner.
Yeah,
and look
back
at
in
his
the days of
downfall.
vaudeville, see? Yeah, back then, in 1920. I don't know who the hell that is.
Oh, another thing. Racism is alive and well in the hospital system in Milwaukee. On Friday, I had to take my wife, and I'm going to be real quick. Had to take her over. She wasn't feeling well, so her job, she got to go to the doctor after so many days. We go over here to the Aurora, and I'm going to say which Aurora. Good Hope and Teutonia, the Aurora right over here. So we go to the Aurora, and we're sitting down, and they come, you wait a while. You got to sit there and wait. And they pulled us into this little waiting room, the room, and they go, we'll be right back. So we're in there, and I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. It was hot. First of all, every hospital you go to, they got the temperature low. Why? Because it kills germs. This room was sweltering. And I'm looking at her, and all of a sudden she said, direct quote, she says, baby, you better go get him. So I looked at her, I go, you're turning me loose. And she says, yes, I am. I said, okay, fine. Lord knows, I get out, I hang a hard right there, supervisor's office. I said, you got to be kidding me, good Lord. Thank you. I looked at the heavens and I kissed the sky. I looked at the woman. I said, ma'am, you got a minute? And she says, yes. You remember, I was not dressed. I looked like a bum, really. But I said, personality carried me through on this. I said, ma'am, I got to shut the door. I shut the door, and I started telling her what's wrong with the picture here. And she said, well, sir, here's some waters. I said, ma'am, we don't want waters. What we want is to see the blanket doctor. Now, can we please get him in here? And I said, this is not acceptable, not just to me, not just to my wife, but to everybody out there. It's insane. Lo and behold, I'm going to tell you right now. Then I complained about the nurse who you couldn't hear because she was wearing a COVID mask in 2025.
All right.
Now, Biden, you know how I feel about Biden, how you feel about Trump. But Biden took credit for killing COVID, right? That's the end of story. COVID was eradicated by Joe Biden, as was the FEMA money, which all went to the, what is that over there?
Let's land the plane, Alan. Land the plane, buddy. Let's land it now.
The plane was all tied together. Anyway, they came in. The doctor seen her. So I had to go get her prescription. How long it takes to get prescriptions? Usually a couple hours. I walked out of the room. They had a prescription right there. They said, Mr. Beck, here's your prescription. Then she told me, she came out, and she said, baby, that man was looking around the corner to see if you were there. So it was pretty exciting. Now, if you want to see this in action, I'm going to tell you. Tuesday, we're going to go. I'm going down to the I got to talk to the city council about their non-response to this stuff.
Here we go.
I'm landing right now. Tuesday, 9 a.m. City Hall, Common Council meeting. Be there and let's show these people what we can do, one vote at a time. It's over. I'm galvanizing. Recalls are coming, my friend.
Here we go.
God bless you.
Thank you, Allan. All right, I don't know what happened there. So I got to read this one. Corey says, Trump's policies are flexible. If we don't like it, we can change it. So let me stop you right there. The only people that can change Donald Trump's policies are Donald Trump or the handful of people in his administration that he listens to. We probably don't like the fact that Donald Trump has hired a bunch of political loyalists to run FEMA. And the people who are working in FEMA who understand disaster relief, they wrote a letter saying that the people that are now in charge of emergency management in this country do not have experience. Donald Trump has fired them. Corey, if we had the ability to change how FEMA was run because we don't like his policies, and I'm sure that people would be able to do it, but that's not how it works. Also, while I understand you being a Trump supporter, how the things that I have been saying that Donald Trump is cutting, things that directly relate to DEI and more specifically African-American health disparities, by me talking about the grants that Donald Trump is eliminating, because anything that looks at African-American or minority health and health disparities is considered woke and considered DEI. I know that probably gives you a lot of cognitive dissonance because you participated in putting that in office, but don't call me negative on Donald Trump when I'm just giving you objective fact of what the man is doing. I mean, let's be honest, Corey. Anything that looks at black people and how they may suffer disproportionately, it is woke. It is DEI. Well, that's not fair to white people, so Donald Trump should cut it because he told you he was going to do so. He ran on cutting things that were woke and things that were related to DEI. Some of y'all didn't think that he would be so cold to cut out grant funding from the federal government that looks at black health disparities. You didn't think he would do that, but he did. So if you want to say that I'm the one that's being negative on Trump, fair enough. I can understand how emotional you might be getting about how your vote is going to eradicate your people. But if that's the case, then tell Trump to do something where we can be positive. The details I have here that says by the time Donald Trump leaves office, black people are going to lose 5 to 7 years of life expectancy. We don't have enough life as it is right now, man. I am bringing awareness to things that Donald Trump clearly doesn't want to tell you. When a federal judge says he has never seen a government act this racist in his entire life, I believe that federal judge, because otherwise, why would he say it? And here's what's crazy. Judges don't even make statements like that. They just rule on cases. But this judge actually spoke out and said he has never seen a government act this racist before. Because there are people in organizations that are trying to sue to stop the administration from cutting grants that look at health disparities in the African-American community. They're trying to stop it. But the Supreme Court said Donald Trump is able to do it. Now, I know that is troubling, but don't blame me for telling you. Blame the man that did it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. Build a customized renter's policy with American Family Insurance so you can protect your tandem bike on the go. Thief! Oh, he is struggling with that two-seater. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Some exclusions may apply. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you scrolling through life instead of living it? With US Cellular's US Mode, it's easier than ever to block out distractions and focus on what truly matters, making genuine connections. And now, through the 10K Life in US Mode sweepstakes, you could win $10,000 to reconnect with what's most important. Imagine the joy of creating lifelong memories with loved ones on a once-in-a-lifetime journey. Don't miss out. Enter now at giveaway.uscellular.com. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes runs now till August 31st, 2025. See official rules online. Switch to US Mode and live more.
It's time for Truth Takes, a thought-provoking commentary on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Here is Kyle Wallace with his truth.
Truth Nation, I guess I've officially graduated from big bro to unk status, at least according to my little cousin. That's what he said. Now, at first I pushed back a little bit, and I was offended by the assertion that I was old enough to be unk. But after a little thought, y'all, I actually embraced the label of being unk and the responsibility which comes with being quote-unquote unk. See, as unk, I think it's my duty to look out for and support the youth and young cats coming up after me. Embrace the role as being a mentor and role model and aim to protect our kids at all costs. With the news cycle always seemingly being negative towards the youth, we need to take it back upon ourselves to change the narrative and uplift our youth. Our kids are so much more than fights, stolen cars, Kia boys, or acting a fool in public. We can't allow a small population of children to depict who our kids really are in the city of Milwaukee. You have to resist the urge to want to bash our kids and be so quick to pass judgment or disparage the youth. And we gotta stop acting as if we were not once in their shoes, making poor decisions, having regrets. I know we have all been there. Now, regardless of how funny it may sound to say YN, don't label our kids that. That is far from a term of endearment, and we have to remember you become what people call you. If someone calls you dumb over and over and over again, you may start believing that you are dumb, and you may start having self-doubt in oneself. Don't put that type of self-hating energy on our youth, Milwaukee. We need to call them YKs and YQs for young kings and young queens, even when they might frustrate you. Remember, they are still only kids. With the summer being here, there is no better time to encourage them to aspire to be great. Give them positive reinforcement. Give them positive affirmation until we get it through their minds on who they really are and what they can become. An unstoppable force of greatness.
Listen to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace weekdays from noon to 1 p.m. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Set adrift on memory bliss of you.
Trump's cuts to the National Institute of Health grants focused on minority groups are illegal, a judge rules. The judge accused the Trump administration of discriminating against racial minorities and LGBTQ people and ordered the government to restore much of the funding. A federal judge on Monday, this is from the New York Times, by the way. On Monday, a federal judge declared some of Trump's administration's cuts to the National Institutes of Health grants, quote, are void and illegal, accusing the government of racial discrimination and prejudice against LGBTQ individuals. And it's crazy because there's someone who is in the YouTube chat who is a member of that community that is having research grants dedicated to the health disparities of that community and the African-American community in which they are both. And they're trying to say that all my Trump negativity is not balanced. Do y'all know that I editorialize? Like, don't come here and get like, oh, well, here's some fantastic things that Trump has done. I don't do that. He's a threat to the health of my people. I'm not going to glorify him. And if you want that, I am the wrong one for you. There's so many places you can go. That's the part that I don't get. Like, people have their appetite for what they want to hear, and they want to hear stuff that they already believe just thrown back at them to affirm what they believe. Even if what they believe is wrong, fake, false, and harmful, they want to find other people that also believe the same false, fake, harmful information as them. I don't do that because that does our people a disservice. There's one thing that I've seen black people fall victim to probably more than anything else, more than prejudice and racism and disparity. We get lied to. People just lie to our faces. Checks in the mail. Oh, don't worry, I do really love you. No, I'm not cheating on you. We get lied to. I'm not here to lie to y'all, especially if we're going to lose 5 to 7 years of mortality because of the cuts to these grants. Ruling from the bench, Judge William G. Young of the Federal District Court for the District of Massachusetts delivered a damning assessment of the Trump administration's motives in targeting hundreds of grants that focused on the health of black communities, women, and LGBTQ people. Let me do you one better. This is a Republican judge appointed by the ultimate Christian evangelical conservative Ronalkd Reagan. So they probably wanted this judge to rule on the case because the Trump administration is cutting grants that studies the disparities and produces outcomes, better health outcomes for African Americans and LGBTQ, right? So clearly a bunch of organizations are suing because they know this is going to ultimately kill people. It's going to lead to bigger health disparities. But Donald Trump says, no. Anything that looks at the health disparities of black people and gay people is woke. It's DEI. Let's eliminate it. So they said, okay, well, if they're going to sue us, let's have it land in a conservative court. A judge appointed by Ronalkd Reagan. This is what a conservative Ronalkd Reagan appointed judge said. Ruling from the bench, Judge William G. Young of the Federal District for the Court of Massachusetts delivered a damning assessment of the Trump administration's motives in targeting hundreds of grants that focused on the health of black communities, women, and LGBTQ people. He ordered the government to restore much of that funding now pending an appeal. Quote, this represents racial discrimination and discrimination against America's LGBTQ community and African Americans. That's just what this is. Judge Young, a Reagan appointee with 40 years of experience, said the government's rationale for canceling some of the grants, which also supported research into topics such as gender identity and equity in healthcare across the board, appeared to be rooted in prejudice and racism. He cited the administration's very public efforts to eliminate any trace of diversity and equity initiatives from the federal government. I just want y'all to understand what that means. When you eliminate any trace of diversity, equity, and inclusion, that means killing black people. Don't convince yourself that it means something else. I want to eliminate any trace, any existence of them. He's even erasing our history by having black exhibits removed from the Smithsonian. This man literally wants a country where we never existed. He said that some of the exhibits in the Smithsonian that call out and showcase the atrocities suffered by African Americans make white people look bad. So he's having the Smithsonian eliminate those exhibits. Ain't that wild? Judge Young, a Reagan appointee with 40 years of experience as a federal judge, said the government's rationale for canceling the grants, which also supported research into topics such as gender identity and equity in healthcare across the board, appeared to be rooted in racism. He cited the administration's very public efforts to eliminate any trace of diversity, equity, and inclusion from the federal government, etc. He said over the course of his career, quote, had never seen government racial discrimination like this, and he felt duty-bound to state his conclusion about the government's intent. Quote, I would be blind not to call it out. This man was appointed by Ronalkd Reagan. This is a Republican through and through. This judge who is now handling this case of Donald Trump trying to cut research and health grants that impact the lives of African Americans, a racist Republican appointed him. Because Ronalkd Reagan hated black people. I don't know if y'all knew that. And so the people that he appointed to the bench probably had his sentiments. But if you have a judge saying that Donald Trump's cuts to these grants is racist and he's calling it out, it's probably worse than we think. Let's talk to Smiley. You're on 101.7 The Truth. Hello, Smiley.
Hello. How you doing, Sherman?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm blessed. Listen, you actually talked about one of the number one thing that I've been alerting a lot of people about, and a lot of people thought it was just fake news or AI playing around with the conversation of what the judge said. And I told them they need to look it up because that judge who was appointed by Ronalkd Reagan, he is the white guy, and he represented the people. That right there is representing the people, how he spoke up, not just for us, but just a whole. And, I don't know what covers y'all eyes, but he spoke up, and I read that on it, and this topic is true. What Trump is trying to do, and if no one really stops him, he's going to keep on doing it. But I also need you to look up this lady. She's the Texas representative. Her name is Ann Johnson, and she called it out, too. And she spoke about how the way, if no one sees it, that's sitting at that table, her daddy was the one who actually put the paper together in so many words and set it up to where no one who was black, but one black woman stood up there and actually said out of her mouth that this is the first time that we are the people of the United States, the first black African woman who spoke about being at the table and talked to the House to make decisions on impeachment. So I want you to look it up. It is on their YouTube page, but she talked about it too. She called it out, and everybody needs to stop and really think about how this is really affecting us as black people. Normally I'd disagree with you, but on this topic and everything else, you hitting everything on the head.
You disagree with me, yes. Smiley, on what?
Yes. Because, you, like I told you, I like what you, say. I told you that before. And I have my disagreement with you because sometimes you can be a little. But also,
I can be, hold on. Really, I can be a little what?
I'm not going to say the word a-hole. That's able to say.
Smiley,
you can, but I still have love for you because I like when you speak your truth. And this is what it is speaking your truth. And that's what I like about it because you put it out there and people need to be alert. And I'm always going to say, we as people need to put our boots on. Put our boots on. I got a
question for you, Smiley. Would you consider yourself maybe a little bit more on the conservative side of American politics?
I'm more conservative because I look at it on both sides.
You don't got to explain it. That's the only question I had about that. Would you consider yourself, at some level, a Trump supporter?
No.
Okay.
I would not.
No.
Not
You're
a Trump
conservative.
support at all, period.
Fair enough. Did you vote for him?
No, I didn't. And I was upset that my son did.
Okay. Did you vote for Kamala?
Actually, yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. And the only reason, let me tell you, and I had to skip a lot of people who don't understand, and that's a lot of people who don't understand how it is set upon the president before who gets in the office. So whatever the president before sets up and the office set up, that president who gets in the office after they are voted out, that is what they, do, and that's what they get upon. So Trump never gave out the stimulus check, and everybody so much said that Trump did. I'm like, our people did that. It was set to put in the office to make sure everyone had some type of, funding or whatever. But y'all so go hold and know about y'all history. It's who sits at the table, and if we don't get out and vote who's sitting at the table, this is what is going to happen. And let me say, I tell my son, well done, because you own your own business, son. Well done. Son, you working and doing your thing. My other son, well done. And anybody who said, I didn't vote for Kamala because she was a black woman and jealousy, that's sad. And anybody who chose to vote, didn't vote, I tell you, if you didn't vote for nobody, you voted for Trump. Because that's one of the biggest things. He was accounting on people who did not like another woman just based on their she locked a lot of people up because of weed. Let me tell you, you did the time, do the crime. Don't be a punk. You laid your cards, you played and do it. But in the same token, put your boots on the ground and go. Put your boots on the ground and watch over our kids. If you really want to do something, put your boots on the ground and let's start doing something right and productive. Other than that, Sherman, keep up the good work. I give you the thumbs up.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Smiley. All right. I don't think she voted for Kamala. I listened for the pause. I asked her if she voted for Trump. She kind of answered quickly. She probably was expecting that question from me. But then I asked her if she voted for Kamala. She was like, that's supposed to be an enthusiastic yes. I agree with her to an extent. When a new president comes in, they are somewhat saddled by the either executive orders and or the budget that the previous administration passed. But did you notice something? Donald Trump in his first, couple of weeks in office, something like 200 executive orders that he signed, directly overturning everything that Joe Biden did. So most presidents will say, okay, I'm the new president. Let me give my predecessors some grace and ride with a few of their policies because I want to give respect to the person that held the office before I did. Trump didn't do that. He eliminated everything. One thing I can say about Kamala, even though that election is long over, she wouldn't have cut grants that want to reduce black women dying in childbirth. So there's that. When black Trumpers will begin to come back to their senses is when people in their families start to die from some of these health disparities because treatment will no longer be available, because treating black people's health disparities is woke. You got to admit, it is, though. It's DEI. Well, what about white people's health? Can't just focus on black people. That's not fair to the whites. The whites. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is 101.7 The Truth's Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 414 boy and representing the city that I love. The great memories I have of going to Northtown Cinema to see movies with family and friends, to going to Capitol Court to see the Black Santa Claus, this city has helped shape me into the man that I am today, and I pledge to utilize my voice as a way to advocate for you in our community. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
It's 101.7 The Truth. Dr. Ken Harris for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It all started with a new invention in 1925, the roll screen. The ability to roll a window screen up and down like a shade. Pella invested in this breakthrough when the business was born in Pella, Iowa, and has introduced the world to innovation, game-changing decisions ever since. They've been at it for a century. When you want long-lasting comfort and reliability, it's easy to trust Pella. Every piece is specifically constructed for you and your home, and always designed with innovation and rigorously tested for quality and performance. The Pella team takes pride in constructing quality windows and doors with meticulous attention to every detail. Investing in new Pella windows and doors creates long-term energy savings and durability that lasts for years. There's no reason to wait, because if you order by August 31st, get 0% interest for up to 60 months. Certain restrictions apply. Yes, that's up to 5 years with no interest payments, so don't miss out. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in, it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, at 1017thetruth.com.
Some unfortunate breaking news. A shooter opened fire this morning during Mass at a Minneapolis Catholic school, killing 2 children and injuring 17 other people before killing himself, officials said. Minneapolis been going through it. Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said the shooter, armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol, approached the side of the church and shot through the windows toward the children sitting in pews during Mass at the Annunciation Catholic School. The school was evacuated, and students' families were later directed to a reunification zone at the school. Donald Trump and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said in separate social media posts that they have been briefed on the shooting. The 2 victims, ages 10 and 8, were killed while they sat in the pews. 17 other people were injured. 14 of them were children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The shooter, officials did not immediately release his name, but said he was in his early 20s and was a, quote, coward who fired dozens of rounds through the church windows on the side of a building before killing himself in the parking lot. The police chief did not say whether the shooter had any known connection to the school. The school, founded in 1923, Annunciation Catholic School, had 391 students enrolled for the current school year or previous school year. School's not in session yet. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the school goes from pre-K to 8th grade. Unfortunate. Always a mass shooting in this country, which I think we've just surrendered on trying to prevent those. This one may be a little different because they shot, it seems like, from the outside. So there are places in American society where you couldn't get a gun if you tried. If you tried real hard, they'd be like, hey, don't bring that gun in here. They'd catch it. Not that I encourage anybody to do this, but you can't get a gun on an airplane. They're going to catch it. Excuse me, sir. Can you step to the side, please? We found a gun in your baggage. And then they take you to jail or whatever. You mean to tell me that we can't make schools like airplanes? We can't do that? There's other places in American society where you can't take guns because they got the metal detectors and the magnetometer. What's the thing you walk through? The magnum, whatever the thing is. Metal detector. And it goes off. Sometimes it goes off if you got a big belt buckle. There are ways in which we can fortify places that are vulnerable. And I just wish that we would treat schools the same way we treat an airplane. Because you can't get a gun on an airplane. I think there are ways in which you can fly with a firearm. They just don't let you have it. You can't bring it in your carry-on. It's got to be in the cargo area and probably can't be loaded. But here we go. Another school shooting. I'd imagine more details about that will be discussed throughout the evening on all sorts of local media and national media broadcasts. All right, somebody said, I got to scroll up because somebody said that I'm fear-mongering. I have a problem with that term because I'm not in the business of trying to scare people. But here's what happens. People hear factual, honest information that scares them, and we blame the messenger. Because, look, I get it. Ignorance is bliss. Not knowing is the best place to be because you don't know the kind of harm that's coming your way. Some people would rather not know. Why do you think black men don't go to the doctor? Because we'd rather not know. We go to the doctor, find out we sick. We call the doctor a fearmonger. And it's always our people that are looking to be coddled for the mistake that they made in supporting this man. Black people are going to lose between 5 and 7 years of life expectancy just from these grants from the National Science Foundation and the National Institutes of Health that are there to study and provide treatment and recommendations to eliminate black health disparities, whether it be black women and their higher incidences of breast cancer, infant mortality in black women, maternal mortality. Donald Trump calls all of that grant funding woke, and he's cutting it out. And when you hear that, it's very frightening. But I'm not the fearmonger. And also, didn't Trump tell you he was campaigning on wokeness? Didn't he tell you he was going to eliminate DEI? Well, things that reduce and eliminate black health disparities, well, that's woke, and that's DEI. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys next time.
We address people, young boys, as if they're grown when they're not. For me, they're not young.